Blank check with Griffin and David. Blank check with Griffin and David. Don't know what to say or to expect. All you need to know is that the name of the show is Blank Check.
You have an amazing talent. You can look at someone and capture them on canvas. You can paint people. I can only paint podcasts. Yes, my podcast scenes are charming, but at the end of the day, they're just collections of hot takes and bits.
Okay, brag.
That's a new approach.
Yeah, to not just putting the word podcast
more
in,
fully
but,
integrate.
Right. More of a thematic.
That quote isn't that iconic, so I said let's shift the entire meaning of the quote.
I mean, as we all know, Big Eyes has 10 iconic quotes. But you decided not to go for one.
I was going to say,
of
that's
them.
the only un-iconic thing about this film.
And Natalie Wood said it was the greatest painting she had ever seen.
It's
you like Walt?
the most hideous performance.
I love it. Love it. I give this movie 2 big eyes out of 2.
Especially because the real guy was like American. Like he didn't have an
American.
accent.
It's like you look him up and it's like he was from Nebraska.
I got takes upon takes upon
He wasn't
takes.
from Castle
Christoph
Wolfenstein.
Waltz walks on set. I've been working with a coach. How is my American accent? And they're like, well, we got to start shooting because we're going to run out of
Up
time.
and at them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You knew the 2 people it was supposed to be before Christoph Waltz, right?
No.
I think I read it, but remind me. Refresh my memory.
Originally announced, because this was going to be Karaszewski and Alexander's
They were gonna direct it.
directorial, or no, not their debut. They did Screwed.
They did Screwed?
I believe they did Screwed.
I remember that,
The Norm Macdonald, Dave Chappelle, Sarah Silverman vehicle.
Of course, yeah.
DeVito.
Where there's like a scene where he's like...
Is that the one where Norm Macdonald's holding up fish or something? And they're like...
That's Dirty Work.
That's Dirty Work.
Oh, okay.
Dirty Work and Screwed are both sort of like, dare I say it, scumbum movies.
Yeah, Screwed is also... It's kind of like...
Bands
what
of
if
Rock and the Devil Horns?
What if like Half-Baked's cult following, but like divided by 10? Like it's one of those movies where it's like it has a cult following, like among 8 people at the University of
who were
Wisconsin.
high at the exact right
exactly.
point in like 1999 or whatever.
Yes.
But Screwed is also one of those dark comedies where every critic was like, too dark.
Right,
I don't want to live in this.
Yeah, right. Anyway, they
So
were supposed to direct it.
Right. And
first time around makes sense.
Thomas Hayden Church, Kate Hudson.
Oh, wow.
Thomas Hayden Church
now,
really
you're
makes
a Kate
sense.
H fan.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
And
You
THC
shouted me out about Something Borrowed on a recent episode, which I was pleased
Anytime
about.
Something Borrowed comes up, I mention you because you're the person I associate with that movie.
But let's say this, as someone who stands so hard for that performance, don't you think she isn't quite right for this role?
Not at all.
Right.
Well, I think she has a hard time, Kate Hudson, doing period.
Yes, I do too.
Even if it's like mid-century, 20th century, it's still like,
right.
I don't know. She's
Thomas
so
Hayden
modern.
Church makes sense because he's got the Midwestern sort of corn-fed thing.
And he's also incredibly annoying, but just in a different way.
Right. He's got that sort of slippery charm kind of thing where you're like, this
yeah.
guy's so gross, but he's kind of compelling to watch. Then it was going to be Reese Witherspoon and Ryan Reynolds.
Right, Reese Witherspoon, I remember that casting,
Right.
yeah.
And Reese is
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, okay.
Ryan Reynolds feels very off.
Yeah.
Reese feels
weird.
on point. She's better than
You
Kate
do
Hudson.
Reese and Thomas Hayden Church.
Right.
Maybe you have a movie
That's
there.
the most obvious version of it.
But
Now,
isn't Thomas Hayden Church like literally 3 times the size of Reese Witherspoon?
Yeah.
Right? Like he's sort of a broad-shouldered guy too.
there are all those stories about what a production nightmare for Christmases was because it's like impossible to frame Reese Witherspoon
joke
and
of the
Vince
poster is she's
Poster is
standing on all
like
the
5
presents.
boxes.
Yes.
And people were like, what's the joke there? And it's like, there's no joke. That's actually how they could get them
She
in
filmed
the
most of the movie
Right.
on stilts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Few people know.
She is actually Stiltman
She
in
is
the
Stiltman.
MCU.
She's Lady Stiltman.
Lady Stilt.
You know that the female Stiltman is named Lady Stiltman rather than Stiltwoman?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Or Lady Stilt.
Yeah, no, her name is Lady Stiltman.
Ben, quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
Tim Burton?
Fuck you, Tim Burton. Go away and
All right.
never return.
How you like them eyes, though, Ben?
I'm like, okay, big eyes. I'm gonna like this.
Big
Yeah,
eyes.
they're big.
Big movie.
Yeah, big disappointment.
Big
Not
guys.
true.
Big guys.
So then it was like when it was the Ryan Reynolds, Reese Witherspoon version, it was Burton was going to produce. I mean, this is like the exact same arc as Ed Wood.
Should you introduce the podcast or?
I'm going to get to that in a second.
Okay.
This is like the
Please.
preamble to the first episode of the OA. The credits are coming 40
Yes.
minutes in.
Right.
I'm
No,
Danny
no, it's
Houston doing the narration before we get into the beginning of the story.
Also, we should, he had worked with them in Ed Wood, right?
Ed Wood was the same thing where he like came on just as a producer when they couldn't get financing.
Right.
And then he was like, I'm going to direct this, even though I usually do big movies. So it's the same thing where like they had it set up at Weinstein. Burton was going to produce. And then there's this surprise announcement. They've totally changed the cast. Burton's directing and they're like going immediately.
Yeah. Go.
This, of course, is Blank Check. Podcast about filmographies. Directors who have massive success early on in their career, give a series of blank checks, make whatever crazy passion projects they want.
Now, what happens sometimes?
Sometimes they clear,
Okay, interesting.
and sometimes they bounce, baby.
Do bounce, baby, in the Christoph voice.
And sometimes the checks clear, and sometimes they bounce, baby.
Because, right, he sometimes does that.
Sometimes they bounce. Sometimes it's a very clenched thing.
Taron Killam's impression of him
It's
on
good.
SNL was quite funny, but
Yeah.
then he was on SNL and he was funnier.
Right.
He's just funny.
He's so funny.
That sketch he did where he's the guy at work who like did something very inappropriate
Yeah.
and only realizes, I can't remember, it's like a card or something, like a
Right.
photo. It's so funny.
Well, here's my take on him keeping his accent too in this movie, okay? It makes no sense. But as a counterpoint, right around the same time he does Roman Polanski's Carnage,
Sure.
Oh, sure.
where Polanski clearly is like, you have to do an American accent, and he's really boring in it. He's not
Yeah.
bad in it,
I've never seen that. So
but
his
he
accent's
loses
bad.
some comedic energy.
Hmm.
Right.
No, his accent's fine,
Sure.
but it
Here's some other
he
things he
cannot maintain the same rhythm that he has that makes his dialogue so
Because
interesting.
he's too focused on doing the accent.
with the American accent. It's
Yeah.
like the accent works,
Yeah.
but you're like, suddenly he's dimmed.
Let's talk waltz.
Let's talk.
Because
Waltz.
Let's waltz.
Let's take this waltz.
Take this waltz.
Still
Take
haven't introduced
this
the podcast.
waltz.
Have introduced the podcast. Haven't introduced you though.
It's
We
a
should do
miniseries
that.
on the films of
Okay.
Tim Burton.
Okay,
It's
okay.
called Podward Scissor
Who are
Cast.
you
Okay.
guys?
I don't know. Griffin and David.
Okay, cool.
Jesus. Whew.
And who's here?
Who's here?
But our all-star.
Last minute pinch hitter on this one,
Yeah.
kind of, right?
Yeah, we don't have your jacket ready yet.
We don't have your jacket.
Oh, that's
Oh.
true.
Is it 6?
Sorry.
This is 7, baby.
This is 7?
I think I tied Yoshida because I was worried that she was going to lap me.
Right? She's
Lucky
not laughing.
Number 11.
That's
Dickie
right.
Lawson's here.
Hey, guys.
The
Hey,
great
guys.
Dickie Lawson.
Big guys.
Hey, guys.
Do you know my big guys joke? So I used to do these series of tweets that was just Penny Marshall going up to the box office and trying to buy tickets
a
for a
great
movie,
series
but
of
getting the title wrong.
Yeah.
And so hers was two for big guys. She thought the movie was called Big Guys. I sort of bullied Bobby Finger into thinking that joke was funny, and then but
It is
no,
funny.
yeah.
What, Bobby didn't think it was
no,
funny?
he did.
What's the matter
but
with
it's
him?
just like I just kept trying to make it a thing.
I was
One
at
for
a,
crumpets? Remember that one? I don't remember what that's.
I was at a restaurant and there were 2 old Jewish ladies sitting next to me, and the one woman was recommending Maisel to the other woman,
Oh boy.
but she kept on getting the word wrong. And she go, you have to watch it's called The Fantastic Mrs. Maisel. It's fantastic. And the other woman goes, let me write it down. It's called Mrs. Maisel. And she goes, no, not Mrs. Maisel. The Fantastic Mrs. Maisel. I'm like, the whole bit is that it's 3 M's.
Right. The
Marvelous
alliteration.
Right. It's one thing if she
Right.
went like, it's called The Miraculous Mrs. Maisel.
Sure.
But it's like, doesn't that sound wrong to
The
you?
terrific Mrs. Maisel.
That she kept on like, no, it's not amazing. It's terrific. That's what it is.
Let's take a waltz because I want to talk about something at the end of the waltz.
Let's take this waltz.
With the 3 of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's Chris Waltz post Inglourious Bastards.
Sure.
Obviously,
Right.
he was like a German actor before that.
Right.
But,
Right, but kind of like an incredible story that a guy like in his 40s has his American film debut out of nowhere and wins an Oscar.
Yeah.
And sort of overnight becomes like a movie star, but then it's like, what are we going to do with this guy? Like,
Sure.
how do we
Yeah, it's
slot him
right.
into...
Totally.
He's so particular.
He's a particular one.
That character feels like it was designed for him.
The opening scene.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
great.
The milk.
The milk and the guy. And
Like, you know, the
That-
crazy thing is that he wrote it for DiCaprio.
right.
And that doesn't work if that's DiCaprio
I think
playing
it doesn't
London.
work. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Richard, of Inglourious Bastards?
I think it's a good movie. I think he's great in it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's kind of one of those things where like I didn't realize watching it that that's what he does. Like you know what
Sure,
I mean?
you're like, oh, this is a great
we've
performance.
just gotten a
Right.
lot of variations
Yes.
on that
well,
since.
that's the waltz that I want to take. Okay, so yeah, then the Green Hornet, he's the villain. I don't remember. Whatever.
right.
And he was a
villain.
last-minute sub in Dickie Lawson style after Nicolas Cage dropped out.
Oh, wow. There you go.
And
Water
he's-
for elephants.
Nicolas Cage was supposed to be on this episode, right?
He was.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the meta-narrative.
Yeah.
I love those eyes. I can't do him. That wasn't.
The eyes are big.
No. I want big on. I can't do it. Go on.
Water for Elephants, where obviously he either played the water or the elephants. I can't remember. I have not seen Water
He
for
was the
Elephants.
terrible circus
Yes,
trainer,
right.
or the
Yes.
ringmaster.
Right.
This
He's
is
kind of the
my
villain.
circus. Look at my 3 rings.
And that was also a post-Oscar movie for Reese, kind of, wasn't it? Like, what
Yeah,
what year was
it's
that?
Here for a
11.
couple
It's a few
years.
years
Oh, so she
after.
okay.
That
yeah.
was the
But it
thing.
was definitely
She
a
was
big
laying low.
movie.
And that was kind of the first big post-Twilight Pattinson.
Right.
That's right. That's what I'm
Pattinson.
thinking.
Like,
yeah.
is he going to be able to carry over?
And it was, it was Francis Lawrence having done 2 genre movies and
Yeah.
maybe being like, could this be an Oscar player? And the
Right.
answer was no. And
Yeah.
he was like, okay, forget it. I'll go make genre movies again.
Was that his immediate follow-up to I Am Legend? He didn't do
yes.
any...
No.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Then he was in The Three Musketeers as Cardinal Richelieu. Terribly miscast there. I'm sure I haven't seen that, but
That movie is actually, if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's really fun.
yeah.
The Paul Anderson one is
That's the
supposed
Paul
to be
Anderson
fun.
one.
That's
I've
the
never
one with
seen it.
Mila Jovovich, right? No?
Yes.
I mean, if it's a Paul
Oh, yes.
Anderson movie,
Yeah.
it's got Mila Jovovich.
Logan Lerman.
Yeah, and Logan. It's
Yeah,
actually
and,
a really
Angus
fun movie.
McFadden.
Isn't Orlando Bloom
Yes.
the villain? Or
I
something?
think Waltz is the villain.
Well,
No,
Waltz
he's
is
a
Richelieu,
villain.
but
Oh,
isn't,
yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
Orlando a bad
He
boy?
Yes,
is,
I believe
yeah.
so.
He's the Duke of Buckingham.
It's a really fun movie. Everyone should
What
see
a
it. There's a
Russia.
hot air balloon involved.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, well, people voted against WS,
Yeah,
so
you idiots. Then
yeah.
he was in Carnage, as you say,
really boring.
which I've never seen, but
Yeah.
that's a play. Like the play takes place in one room. Why did they turn that into
It's
a
a
movie?
bad idea.
It was just a hot play,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Roman Polanski.
Yeah.
And then he was in Django, and he won a second Academy Award
Which is
for doing something
nuts.
similar,
Mhm.
and is nuts.
Nice.
But
It's
that was
nice.
the year that everyone nominated
Everyone was a winner.
right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I still would have given it to Tommy Lee Jones, Rockin' the House, or Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, his best
Oh,
performance
Rockin'
yeah.
the
ever.
House.
Or you go like
Yeah.
De
Is
that
Niro
the
more
name of
turned
the
on
movie?
than he's been in a long time. Like
Yeah.
it's not
The
like
Master, and
right.
Lincoln.
Oh, okay.
It's just
weird.
weird.
One. It's just that he's the lead of Django, kind of.
That's
he
the
has
other thing.
so
He's
much
the
in
lead.
it,
He has
you know?
more screen time.
And he's
than
fun.
everyone.
He's got a tooth,
Yeah.
big tooth on his
right. Yeah.
cart.
On a spring, right?
Yeah.
He's fun.
He shoots like 4 to 10 people. I don't remember.
It is
He's,
just weird that he won for 2
same director, same kind of part.
within 5
you know.
years.
Yep.
Like back-to-back films where he's kind of a really heavy supporting, bordering on co-lead.
Totally.
Both of them.
And then the Zero Theorem. I've never seen that. The Terry Gilliam movie. Horrible Bosses 2. I've never seen that. He's
No.
really kind of like. It's once again where they're like, well, he should be in movies.
Yeah, but
What
the
is
man
that?
has
where do you
Oscars.
put-
What is that movie about?
What?
Horrible
Horrible
Bosses 2?
What if
Yeah.
there were 2 horrible bosses?
They
I don't
start
know.
their own company and then they
Jesus.
sell it to someone. And
He's
then
a
it's
horrible
Christoph
boss?
Waltz and he's terrible.
Okay.
And his son Chris Pine is a cokehead, so they kidnap the son in order to get the father to sell them back their business.
No,
I don't
I don't
fucking
That was
know.
good.
And then
It's just
he's
a shame they never got to finish the
And then-
trilogy because the story
know.
was so
Well,
open-ended.
right,
There's
yeah,
so
exactly.
many hanging threads.
I don't know
so
what
many
Snoke is going to do.
questions.
And
Yeah.
you know,
Unanswered.
Snoke's a horrible boss. If you think
That was
about
going to be the third
Yeah,
one.
right.
They were in talks with Snoke.
Yeah.
Snoke is
Then they
the,
realized he's made up. He's made up. He's a made up
Snoke is the stinger at the end of Horrible Bosses too.
But then it was just this weird convo with some of the studios. Get Snoke. Who's Snoke? Is he CAA? Like,
Yeah.
get him on the line. And the guy had to explain, like, he's made up. He's,
Well,
he's
Snoke,
a makeup
but Snoke
person.
also got stolen in the Midnight Raid, right? Snoke
That's
got
right.
stolen
Yeah.
from UTA.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
They're doing a Disney Plus Snoke show, right?
they
should do
better. Snoke in the
that.
City.
Disney Snoke.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry. All right. Big Eyes, we'll skip over that for the second. Spectre, he's the villain. Legend of Tarzan, he's the villain.
Yeah.
Tulip Fever, is he the villain?
He's the tulip.
Then there'll be no more tulips.
Yeah.
This city's
want
got
these
tulip
tulips
fever.
out of here.
Downsizing is the first time I had seen him in a million years where I was like,
Oh.
oh, he's fun.
Yeah.
He rules.
He's
Yeah.
so good in that.
He is really good in that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then this year,
Yeah.
we all separately
Uh-huh.
saw a little picture called Alita Battle Angel.
Okay.
Alternate
and he's
title.
going to win his 3rd Academy Award.
Alternate title: Big Eyes.
Well, that's
Sure.
the thing. Is my theory is he went
Exactly.
so mad for Big Eyes, filming Big
right.
Eyes. He's like, I must have more Big Eyes.
His agent's
Yeah.
like, this movie's called like Small Eyes. He's like, no,
no.
Yeah.
It must be
only
me.
Big Eyes.
My girlfriend TC14 constantly calls Alita Battle Angel Big Eyes.
Of course.
And
She's
then
got
I-
big eyes.
I told her.
Indisputable.
I told her I was like, we're recording tomorrow. And she's like, what movie? And I was like, Big Eyes. And she was like, you guys are doing an Alita episode already? And I was like, no, Big Eyes. And she was like, what do you mean?
Big Guys.
And I was like, the actual Big Eyes movie. And she was like, I didn't know that was a thing.
What? Really?
She was
She
like,
didn't know about those eyes?
I just called Alita Big Eyes because that's the most
she's
compelling
got
part of
big
the
eyes.
trailer.
Yeah, they're big. Look, no, I mean, but Dr. Dyson Edo, hi, I am the Iron City. You know, we must. You know, you don't want to. I think he's amazing in that movie. I
Agreed.
think we all agree on the quality of that movie.
That movie
which
is a
one reason I want to talk
fucking
about it. Yes,
But that's
I've
the
seen
other
it 3
crazy-
times in
You've seen it
theaters.
3 times?
Yes.
Have you seen it in 4DX yet?
No,
Oh, it was so good.
no, I don't like to do.
Christoph Waltz rubs your leg.
Yeah.
Because
This
he's
is
so
the smell
sad
of
in that
Christoph
movie.
Waltz's breath.
He's never done that before.
Well, you know
where
what's-
he's this
yes.
very like
What's
weird,
his title
haunted,
again?
tragic guy, Dr. Dyson Edo.
No, but what does he do?
They call him.
Oh, he's a hunter warrior, and he has a giant hammer with like a rocket attached
Right.
to it that
Yep.
rules, and he wears a hat and a raincoat.
Yeah.
He looks like a fucking plague doctor. I
I
don't
was
know.
going to say, like, he was right at the point where it was like, maybe this guy has kind of hit his expiration point because we've seen the one thing he's done so many times that
Sure.
it's getting old. And then he, like, back to back, downsizing is like, oh, he can play this relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. No, exactly.
And Alita
right.
is like, he can play this sad. And
Yeah.
suddenly you find, like, some variance.
Chrissy.
And
Right.
smartly, Alita subverts your expectations because for a while you think he's the
yeah, you
villain.
think he's the bad
Right,
guy.
yeah.
And it's like, oh no, he's not. He's actually like this
Right.
avenging hero, which is something we've not really seen. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess
All right.
maybe sort of Django, but
Right, but can
Right.
I also? This is all right. So spoilers for Alita for anyone who is still not gone to the Thunderdome. whatever
Motor
it's
City.
it's
Iron
playing
City,
in
Iron City.
every
City.
multiplex, I'm sure, at this point.
Oh boy. But there's a scene in Alita. I love every scene in Alita,
Yeah.
except for a couple of the Hugo scenes. Maybe.
I don't like Hugo.
Yeah, Hugo's a little rough.
Yeah.
I know you like Hugo.
Wait.
He's the cute.
Oh.
The cute boy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
See, I think that
you,
movie's...
you think Hugo's fairly.
I think that movie's got a
Yeah.
major BBP. Boring boy problem.
oh yeah.
Well,
Well,
he's a little.
I'm such an easy mark. What was it? I was on a film festival jury recently, and like the first scene, there was like the I realized that the lead was like a cute guy, and I was like, oh, it's a great movie. Like, it's so pathetic.
But there's a scene late in Alita
Uh-huh.
that is a scene that we've seen in 1,000 movies and TV shows, which is that someone is waiting in a hospital or doctor's office or
For someone
whatever
to wake up.
for
Yeah.
sort of waiting for news,
Yeah.
sitting quietly. The doctor comes out and he's like, well, you should just come in. Except in this scene, she's like, is he okay? Because I cut his head off and attached it to my heart for a while. And he's like, well, yeah, you should just see I put his head on top of a bunch of weird robot parts and he
Yeah.
looks fine now.
Yeah.
Like, and you're just like, this movie is bananas.
Yeah.
It's like, we get it. We're there with it
Yes.
emotionally,
Yeah.
but it's also bananas.
It's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's one of the few movies in which the romantic teen boy lead's head is carried
Yeah.
in the girl's
One of
coat.
the few.
There are a few.
One of the few.
I think Ringwald did it in
In
a
her
movie
to fool
yeah.
the robot cops. Yeah, Ringwald
Yeah.
did. Right. Yeah.
Right.
There's definitely
Leah
is that-
Thompson. I
Yeah.
think.
She's having a baby is
Yeah.
about that, right? Oh,
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
remember.
It's so stressful because it feels like Alita is right at that cusp of whether or not they make a sequel because of worldwide gross.
I know.
Right.
It's
Like
stressful.
it feels like it's within like 20 or 30 million. It's either going to just make it or just not.
100%.
If
Right
they can
now,
make 3 Divergent movies, they can
Agreed.
or Maze Runner.
Yeah.
They can,
right now it's at 400 worldwide, essentially.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Which is not bad, but it costs
It costs
fortune.
a lot. Yeah.
So it's not going to. They claimed their break even number was 350, but that's like a total lie. It was
I agree.
probably like 500.
I also
Yeah.
kind of think though, I mean, the other big question is now it's Disney
It's
overseeing
Disney now.
Fox.
Right.
I think
Right.
pure Fox would have been a little easier to convince.
Yeah.
The question is how much Disney wants to stay in Cameron's good graces because they know he's delivering 4 avatars for them.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
no, he's bearing 4 Avatar seats for them.
He
Excuse me.
is,
Sorry.
right. He is
I just
merely a
wanted to correct
surrogate
you.
for the natural evolution of the Avatar
Correct.
saga.
That's why it's been delayed. We didn't realize how long Avatar seats take to gestate.
He is but the carrier.
Avatar seeds.
Yeah, he is
Oh, my
graciously opening up his male womb to the incubation of 4 Avatar stories.
His male womb is just his
praise
butt,
Awa.
right?
Yeah, his butt.
yeah.
So it's like James Cameron buried his movie in the ground, like my jeans.
Yes.
I feel like the jeans should be a Patreon exclusive.
Well, let's not say any more than that
Okay,
then.
all right.
What I was going to
I
say.
buried jeans.
I listened. I'm
No
aware.
more. No more.
Big eyes, buried jeans.
No, the other thing I was going to say about Alita.
Why have you buried your jeans?
No, it turns out he's burying the jeans, but she made the jeans. I don't know.
Don't you think
The Gloria
Alita?
Vanderbilt story.
Don't you think Alita is one of those movies where if they announce that they're doing a sequel, which will take like 3 years,
Sure.
right? In that time through like home video, like streaming, it kind of might grow a little John Wick style.
Maybe.
I think people
mean,
might come around to how weird
but
that movie
it's amazing
is.
how
Yeah.
many people, like every time I saw it, it's because
Yeah.
I was dragging someone else to see it. I was
Yeah.
like, I can't believe you haven't seen Alita. We're seeing
Just people
Alita.
on the street.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I would say my hit rate was like 30 to 40%. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people were just like, yeah, no, my brain just turned off. I have nothing to say
But don't
about
you
that.
think that happened with John Wick too?
No, John Wick was an instant cult hit.
I disagree
Instant.
with that.
You're wrong. I don't know what to tell you.
I think certain people were
No,
very strongly
I'm going to tell you
behind it.
something.
What?
John Wick came out. It had no buzz, as we all remember, right?
Yeah,
Like no
right.
buzz at all. It opened okay. It
Yeah.
only made 43 million. You know,
Right.
it was like a sleeper hit.
Yeah.
The week it came out, we wrote an article on the Atlantic that was titled "Someone killed his dog and now they have to die."
Yeah.
And it was just about John Wick,
Mhm.
and it was the most read article in the history of the website.
That is not true.
It is true.
That is true?
Yes. Now it's easily been beaten since then.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I was
many
gonna say.
times over.
Yeah.
But the interest in this movie was instantaneous. People were just like, "What's this movie?" Like very
But
fast.
I feel like it
You're
instantly
correct that on
gained a
home
cult.
video.
Right.
It got even bigger.
Right. Because I just remember.
Because if you look at the
Yes.
way those movies have scaled,
Yeah.
like in release date and budget and
Yeah.
in gross, it obviously.
I saw both of those movies opening weekend, Saturday. And the
Sure.
first one, most of the audience was kind of laughing at it. And it felt like they were there to see it ironically.
We had
And you
very
could see
different
the
experiences.
other smart people who were keyed
Oh,
into
no,
the craft of the film. And the second film I saw same way, opening Saturday.
People were hyped.
When John Wick came on screen, they broke into applause.
As they should.
And I was like, this is the
Don't set
fastest
'em off.
any character has become a legend.
I want to be clear. Culture. Atlantic culture pieces.
Oh, okay.
No, because
Yeah,
we're
I
not
was
counting
gonna
like
fucking
Ta-Nehisi.
say.
and,
Right, yeah, thank you.
know, like, just to be clear.
You forgot to
Sorry, the
mention-
case for reparations,
Yeah,
but
sorry,
here comes John Wick.
Frederick Douglass has like a byline on the Atlantic. But
Right.
anyway, he does. You can like look him
Yeah.
up. But well, we had different experiences then. Because
Sure.
when I saw it, my whole audience was almost immediately just all in on
In
Mr.
awe.
Wick.
Yeah.
When I saw Big Eyes, everyone burst into applause.
I'm getting
Every
so protective. I'm trying to nestle my little daughter away from Christoph Waltz so I can raise her properly.
Well, here's something we need to say about.
But
Big
wait, can I
Eyes.
ask a question about Alita before we move to the actual
course.
movie that we're here to
Ask
talk
as
about?
many
Whenever I say
Okay.
Big Eyes, it could mean
Yeah,
Alita.
either one.
Like,
This episode's about two movies.
Big
by the
Eyes.
Big Eyes
transitive
and
property
Alita.
of the
Right.
eyes.
Right,
right?
We can keep talking about Alita.
Yes.
So, well, actually, first thing, the problem with Alita's life on video or whatever is that what is appealing about that
Alita's
movie
life on
is
video
not-
sounds like a Richard Linklater movie. Just FYI.
It's at Cannes this year. Is that what's appealing about that movie is the kind of almost the opposite of what's appealing about John Wick. Like Alita, the hurdle it has, not just because it's not IP that people know, is that
Yeah.
it's so earnest.
Yes.
Yes.
And it feels
So
so,
sincere.
old-fashioned.
Yes,
And
very
I
much
feel like
so.
that's what's turning people off.
Right.
So my question then
Yeah.
is, how the fuck did it become the sort of movie that was championed by the assholes who were trying to bury
So
Captain Marvel?
weird.
It was so weird. Well, especially because the life cycle that I've seen Alita have online was that very early on, where there was like a huge trans following for the movie.
Yeah.
And trans critics were sort of rallying around it. And that, I think, lots of movies about people who like switch their bodies
Yes.
and,
The
their
malleability of
identities.
identity
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
your
yeah.
soul
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff. Right.
Obviously, the community's going to respond to that. But
Yeah.
then it became, I guess Captain Marvel came out, like 3 weeks later?
Yes.
And it became the thing of like, yeah, no, I support female lead movies that are like twisted.
That
I
aren't
don't even know
political.
what the argument
that was
was.
their
They aren't
argument is-
political.
Well, because
Right,
Rosa
right.
Salazar didn't say, like, I don't want male critics to review the movie
Well,
or whatever,
the
like
thing
Brie
is,
Larson did or something.
I mean,
I mean,
she
no,
said shit like that, but she's not Brie Larson, so it didn't get as much
Right.
traction. Like, all those guys who are angry at Brie Larson are angry about, like, an out-of-context headline they saw
Right.
of her in an interview saying,
And they're
I
angry
would
about
like
other
to see
things,
more
too.
diverse
Right.
people on my press tour.
Sure.
Right.
Right.
And they all interpret it as she doesn't want men to see the movie.
Right.
Well, do you think maybe some of these people, maybe they're a little bad faith about this
Maybe.
stuff? Maybe.
What do you mean? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they've got like a little bit of a loaded opinion already.
I don't know. I think we have to respect both sides of the
You're
argument.
right.
Jaden.
I'm sorry.
Ding dong. Ding dong. Ding
All right,
dong.
get the door.
I don't know why you were laughing at me clearing my throat. I was just trying to
I understand. It's
make
fine.
that
I
rest
just didn't know what would
podcast
happen
better. I
next.
want to be able to enunciate. Just get the door.
Once there was a balding spot on the back of my head, grew bigger and bigger once. There was
What's this?
a hair and shower drain.
Hmm?
Baldness is a pain. What to do to combat it?
I'm sorry, we're in the middle of recording an episode.
Guys,
About
please,
these are some big eyes we're
show
talking
some
about.
respect. Don't you see this is the lead singer of Crash Test Dummies? 90s grunge rock band, Crash Test Dummies?
Hymns,
Oh my God.
hymns.
Do you know your name, sir?
Hymns. Of course I know my name. I'm in the middle of singing. Don't interrupt me.
So
I'm doing a riff on our famous song. Hymns.
So what you're telling me is that you're Brad Roberts,
Why are you telling me something I already know?
the lead singer of the Canadian folk rock band Crash Test Dummies.
Yeah, you think I don't know that I'm Canadian and my name is Brad Roberts? These are things
Why are you here?
because I believe in hymns.
You're talking about the wellness brand for men?
Yeah, I mean, people consider us to be a one-hit wonder.
Okay.
And the reason is Muse didn't strike me in the same way twice.
Okay.
And I've been looking for inspiration.
Okay.
I'm like, where's my new
Uh-huh.
And I saw, as I sang in the song, if you were paying attention, the spot growing in the back of my head, the hair in the shower drain, and I was looking for an answer, and then inspiration hit. Hymns,
So you're saying that you exist in this studio right now because
hymns
sounds like hymns?
I never thought of that before. I exist here because I want to share my
I'll
new
give it
song.
up to you, Griffin.
Yeah, what's going on?
You're a creative man.
I don't know why you're saying that to me. We have a creative genius here next to me.
Okay, Brad.
Yep.
66% of men start
Brad
to lose
Roberts,
their hair.
that's my name. Don't wear it out.
66% of men start to lose their hair by age 35.
Old Brad included.
And once you've noticed thinning hair, it can be too late.
Yep.
So is your hairline slowly moving backwards? You
Yeah.
seen the spots?
Or is your bald spot slowly moving forwards?
The best way to prevent more hair
Silent
loss
killer.
is to do something about it while you still have some. It's time to get a handle on those precious locks.
Hymns.
So that's right.
Hymns,
You are
hymns,
right.
hymns.
Brad,
Hymns,
if you
hymns,
go to
hymns,
4hymns.com, baldness can be optional.
I'm realizing now that you've pointed it out that in fact the song is kind of similar to
Right. Okay. Yes.
because
that's
I
the
kind of just thought
similarity.
I'd come up with a new song
Right, but you're saying the muse
with
maybe
the
hasn't
same
struck.
power.
Right. Well, whether or not you have reached an artistic breakthrough,
I think I have, arguably. We got a little more work to do.
if you use forhims.com, there will be no more awkward in-person doctor's visits and long pharmacy lines because you'll be connected to real doctors online, which could save you hours, and it's completely confidential and discreet.
And I'll tell you, those pharmacy lines are so awkward for me because I get spotted all the time.
Yeah.
And people go like, weren't you the drummer in like Pearl Jam or something? And I'm like, no, I was the Crash Test Dummies guy. They know me. Do you know
All
what I'm
right,
saying?
I know what you're
But they
saying.
don't know where they know me from.
Yes. Prescription Solutions.
Understand why you're checking your watch so
Backed
much.
by
While your
science.
producer is just kicking back and vaping.
You can order 4Hims now. My listeners can get started with a Hims complete hair kit for just $5 today, right now, while supplies last. And subject to doctor's approval. See the website for full details and safety information. This could cost hundreds if you went to the doctor or a pharmacy somewhere else.
And my listeners can, of course, go to soundcloud.com/Chris Roberts.
Right.
Is that right?
Sure. Brad Roberts. Isn't that your name?
Of course it is.
Dan Roberts, your brother, is in the band too.
Everyone knows that.
So anyway, go to 4Hims.
Chris Roberts is the cheeky joke. That's what
I'm
I
calling
call.
to action right now.
Okay.
Go to forhims.com/check. That's FORHIMS.com/check. Forhims.com/check. You can get a complete hair kit for $5. While supplies last.
Forhims.com, a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness for men.
Big eyes. Let's talk
Yeah.
big eyes. Now, here's the movie Big Eyes.
Yes.
The eyes are big.
Yeah.
The year is 2014.
Yeah.
We both
Yep.
work in the biz.
Sure, I would just start. No, yeah, I was just
you were
completed my
at-
first year at VF.
Right.
Yeah.
And we know of Amy Adams, and you do too,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
as a promising actress. People like her.
And this movie had a lot of like, this might be the one that
This
finally
is-
gets her the Oscar
that's-
because she's already been nominated 5 times.
That's what I was saying. She got into that sort of Winslet zone
Right.
where it's like, she's got so many nominations. The next one's got to be it.
And as we know, biopics always play well with the
Biopics,
Academy
right.
voters. Like
And
that.
even though Burton doesn't do well with the Oscars, he's still a big director.
Right.
And this movie came out at Christmas, so I think everyone was like, she's going to win a big Oscar.
And she's unique because she is a leading lady and a proper movie
A leading
star.
lady?
But 4 for 5 nominations at this point are for supporting.
Mhm.
Right.
And so people are like, this is a movie where she's really carrying the thing. This might be the full showcase that she needs.
She's been nominated now 6 times, I
Yeah.
believe, and only once for lead.
Right. American
Yeah.
Hustle is her only lead.
Yep.
Right. It's kind of crazy. It still remains crazy that she didn't get the Arrival nomination.
I know that was
Especially
that's
since that
brutal.
movie was like across the board.
No, it was nuts.
'Cause I
That's her
remember-
best performance.
Right. And I remember being like, I don't know if that movie's going to get any other
it'll get
nominations,
that.
but she's a lock. And then it ended up getting picture, director, screenplay, everything other than her.
But anyway, what's important is that she won the most important award.
Golden Globe,
The
Best
Golden
Actress,
Globe for
Comedy
Best
Musical
Actress
for
in
Big
a
Eyes.
comedy? Comedy? This is not a comedy.
I think this movie's funny. I was laughing
When?
all the time.
Oh, boy.
This is him doing his weird, like, take on Douglas Sirk. This is like his
Yes,
weird
yes,
melodrama movie.
Yes, right. But I mean, I don't think of the Cirque movies as comedies.
No, but that's
They're-
why I'm
they're
saying
arch.
his weird take on them.
Right.
I think he's heightening everything to absurd levels. I mean, here's my other big
I want him to heighten it
here's,
more.
Here's my big take on the Waltz performance, because I'm not going to hold on to this. I want to put this out there right away.
You seem to have something in your hands that's trying to escape. Like, I don't know.
I have a live rat.
Yeah.
I've named him Christoph Waltz.
Yeah, Griffin's throwing matches at us.
I will
scene.
burn
What a
the
scene.
place down.
Turpentine.
God, he's so good at syllables.
He is. I mean, we'll talk about it. I interviewed him for this movie. and
Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Man, this
Like,
movie,
just the longer a word is, the more.
we got 3 Oscar Golden Globe nominations.
Comedy.
Waltz got a nomination.
Did they put him
at
in
the
lead or
Globes.
supporting?
Lead.
Okay, yeah.
He is a lead. I
Yeah,
mean, he's
they
all
were
over
trying
it.
to do a bad faith campaign for him as supporting, which was category fraud.
Well, it wasn't going to get it anyway.
Considering he's a bigger part than Amy Adams.
Yes.
is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is sort of
Yeah.
part of the problem of the poster, where he's the
Yeah.
at the top.
Isn't
think
it
I
a
actually-
film
yeah.
about him taking credit for
Yes,
the
right.
painting?
Just the irony of the movie being about the man taking credit for her work, and then the movie about it, the man takes center. Like, it's just like.
These are all fair
But
points.
the problem is, well, it's kind of Margaret Keane. It's a passive role.
Yeah,
you know,
she
in-
kind of locked herself away for
Yeah.
so many years, right? And then she only unlocked herself when she got into numerology and/or Jehovah's Witnessing, right? Yeah.
and met some surfing teens in Hawaii.
Well, right.
This is my take.
Here's your take.
I think Burton is certainly an expressionistic filmmaker, right?
Mhm.
And on the surface, this is a less sort of outrageous story, a less heightened story. And he is making expressionistic film through making it kind of in the style of the like ripped from the headlines sort of B dramas of this time period.
Mm.
You know, he's doing sort of melodrama combined with like weird like B-movie thriller combined with like the Christine Jorgensen story or any of these sort of like important issue movies made by like sort of low-rent filmmakers. But the casting and the way he directs the Amy Adams and the Christoph Waltz performances, which feel like they're in totally different movies.
Mhm.
And I know is the chief complaint of this film is what tone is this thing?
Right.
They're not acting in the same thing. What I think is interesting about the Waltz performance and the Adams performance, I think it's daring to have her be that passive.
Yeah.
With an actress who is capable of playing bottled emotions in a way that is far louder, you know?
Sure.
This is like really like for the film to work, you need to buy that she is that easy to sort of step on,
Right.
you know?
Right.
That she is that sort of subject to victimization or marginalization. And then the second thing is this recent spat of now we're all obsessed with like charming sociopaths, right? These like narcissistic
Who we got?
megalomaniacs, Billy McFarland,
Ah.
Elizabeth
Thunderbite.
Holmes,
Oh, with her voice.
maybe a little guy named Donald J.
Yeah.
Trump.
You nailed it.
She
Right?
talks like Lupita in Us.
So this is my
Oh,
point.
yeah.
When you watch either like of those documentaries, right? Either the Fire documentaries, you watch like not Bad Blood, The Inventor, or Listen Bad Blood, or any of this, and everyone's talking about like they're so captivating. It's so weird. People always ask me, how did you
Yes,
fall for
yes.
it? And when you're in the room with these people, there's just something about it. And then we watch the footage and we're like, Billy McFarland seems so boring.
Yeah.
And he's so clearly full of shit.
Right.
I would never fall for it.
Yeah.
So if you cast someone to play Walter Keane, the way he actually felt in the room, I think you'd go like, why? This is like insane. Why would anyone fall for this?
Sure.
The Christoph Waltz casting is, this is a guy who somehow made a Nazi guy kind of compelling.
Right.
Where you're just like, I don't know what it is about this guy, but his energy is so fucking weird. And the way he talks is so weird that I'm kind of falling into it. And I think the movie has that like meta performance of like, it doesn't make sense unless the guy is this big. Because a performance this big reads the way it feels like when you're in the room with that person.
Right.
And that person is able to trick you.
Yeah, it's a question of scale. Like,
right.
Yeah, you have to do it big enough that it can make the transition.
Right.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
It's like
actually.
a Nicolas Cage thing where like he said for Peggy Sue Got Married, he made the insane choice to play that character speaking like Pokey from Gumby.
Sure.
And Francis Ford Coppola is like, why are you doing this to me? Like, I fought so hard to help you out.
My cousin, my nephew, whatever you
Why
are.
are you doing this to me? And he's like, this whole movie is about like the idea that she goes back to her teen years and the guy she thought is the heartthrob, she now sees through.
Mm-hmm.
How like silly he is.
Sure.
And I want to make a performance that feels the way when you look through your school yearbook, you're like, I can't believe I ever found this person attractive. So I want to be like silent at the beginning of the movie when I'm an old man.
Right.
And when it goes back to the past, I'm so clearly goofy and childlike
Right.
that you have the feeling as an audience member that she has of embarrassment.
That's fine. That's a good defense of Peggy Sue Got Married.
And
good movie.
I think there's the same thing going on with Christoph Waltz in this, where it's like even the fact that he's German and it's inexplicable adds to the weird mystique of like, why is Elizabeth Holmes talking in that voice? Like, can't we all see through that?
Right. Okay. That's fine.
That's
all fine. But the movie's kind of boring.
Disagree.
That's the problem.
I think it's a rip-roaring thrill ride.
It is not.
I think it's an emotional roller coaster.
It's also not. Right? I mean,
I was trying to think of a way to make it more engaging, but like I just think because it's a fascinating story,
Yes.
but it's more of
It's
a
a
red
fascinating
story,
story.
you know. Like I don't, or
I
don't even think a documentary would sustain it, you know, because it's still
maybe
it's
a,
not
maybe
dynamic.
a short documentary. Let's keep it short.
Sure,
Let's
Uh,
documentary
an episode
short.
of something.
I tweeted a GIF at the two of you.
Yes.
With one perfect shot, and I want to find this so I can give proper credit to it. But a Blanky tweeted a thing, which I like this movie a lot.
Yeah.
But I totally agreed with this, and I was like, fuck, this is really
Oh yeah, I know
smart.
the tweet you're talking about. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Did you see this?
I'm not sure. Tell me.
Ben looked like he had something to say, so say it while I'm looking for this tweet, Ben.
I was wondering if there is a good movie about a painter. And like, I feel like the Ed
Mr.
Harris movie,
Mr.
Turner.
where he
With
plays
Timothy
the
Pollock.
Pollock.
You're thinking
Yeah.
of yeah,
It's like, nah.
yeah.
No, Pollock is good. I like Pollock.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a drunk.
Yeah.
Andre Rublev. Hello.
Basquiat, I've never
Nah.
seen.
It's not great.
not that good.
Vincent and Theo's very good, but it's kind of a TV series.
Yeah.
It was like a mini series that he cut down
But,
into
yeah,
a film. But that's an excellent
Frida
film.
isn't bad. I like
No.
Frida. Frida's got the sort of
sure.
lush visuals. And,
Sure.
What's his name?
Yelling.
Willem as Van Gogh.
Yes.
I didn't see that either.
At Eternity's
No.
Gate.
Yeah.
It's boring.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
really
boring.
boring.
See,
So
that's the
boring.
thing. I'm wondering, can you make an engaging movie?
Yeah,
about
I
a
think Frida's
painter?
pretty
You
good.
can.
Yeah, right.
You can. There are some.
And look, it works when the filmmakers are very visual and are aesthetically tied to the painters. Because
Right.
you need to find some way to convey the sense.
But that's kind of what Julian Schnabel is like, and he's always just kind of boring.
I mean, Diving Bell and the Butterfly is good.
Not about a painter, though.
Agreed.
It's about a blinky
Agreed.
man.
I think his painting movies are bad because I think he's too literal about it. I
Well,
think
blinky
Julie
guy.
Taymor is good at translating it.
I think Taymor's
And I
better.
think the Keane paintings are very much in line with Burton aesthetically. This is the tweet I want to
Those
read.
eyes are so big. Yes,
At
go
Double
ahead.
Dog Darrow says,
We love him.
is it Big Eyes time? Her.
Sure. Sorry.
Is it Big
Oh,
Eyes
I
time?
did see this tweet. Yes,
Because I stand by the fact that it could have been brilliant if it was re-edited with trial as the setting for a Rashomon-style analysis of how people see the truth, ending with the paint on it.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
this is
a great
the
solve
thing.
for that movie.
This
That's
is
a
the thing.
really smart structural
Yeah.
hack for
Yeah.
the exact same footage and script that they have.
I
Yeah.
interviewed Mr. Christoph Waltz for this movie.
It was a weird one. You said this was one of...
I pulled it up just to double check.
Yeah.
I think I said, I led off with like, this film is more tragic than I expected for your character. And
Yeah.
he said, what did you expect? Which is already, I'm like,
Mm-mm.
okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm being interviewed, but okay.
Right.
And I said, I think I expected something more kitschy or more heightened, but also it got into the struggle with your character that he begins to buy into his own lie.
Yeah.
And he said, where is the lie? Like, you have your mind all made up. That he said that to me. Which is nuts. You know,
and then you just woke up in your bedroom and you were like, how did I get home? And
you're right. He seemed very dialed into the fact where he's like, my character does not think he's lying.
Right.
Which is how I'm playing it. I think that's what he was trying to say to me.
Yes.
He was just saying to me in this scary German way that sounded like he was calling me a liar.
Yeah.
But, you know, eventually he kind of was like, I understand what you're saying. I'm just telling you how my character feels about it all. And so, right, you could do that where it's like, rather than presenting him as predatory, which he kind of is from minute one in this movie, right? Like he sort of just shows up and he's like,
but the thing about
you know,
that interpretation,
you know, like
it's kind of bullshit. I mean, it's
'cause he didn't
exonerating.
paint him.
It's like, what do you mean he doesn't think he's lying?
Right, I
He
know, it's
is
crazy.
lying.
He is lying.
Is he
But-
completely insane?
you know,
Like,
he's lying, but you know what she's doing?
painting.
Lying.
But we have seen so many. Well, with your big eyes and your big lies.
Yeah.
We've seen so many examples of this recently. Like,
Yeah.
like how is him testifying in court, which they have said many times they toned down from the actual transcripts.
Right. He
Like
was
that is
crazy.
famously
Right,
one
right.
of the craziest like trials of all
Which
time.
is probably why the judge was like,
Just paint.
so, 2 easels, some paint now, like enough.
I like to think of like the bailiff going to an art store.
Right.
Like, what do I need?
The judge in this movie is secretly maybe the best performer.
He's
He's
good.
great.
I
He's
love him.
so
Yeah.
good.
You know what? There's nothing better than a good judge
Yeah.
performance. I was just watching Presumed Innocent for
Uh-huh.
no good reason, and
Yeah.
Paul Winfield in that.
Oh,
You need like
Yeah.
someone who's immediately you're like, this guy's in charge now. Like, you know what I mean?
Kenneth Troy and People versus OJ.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Dancing Itos on Jay Leno.
So good.
Love that
Oh.
performance.
So good. Simon Cowell on American Idol. So good.
Great judging.
Katy Perry on the new American Idol.
Oh,
So
yeah,
good.
that's right. Jennifer Lopez.
Recently, there was a clip of some guy performed an original song, and she was like, "You wrote that?" And he's like, "Yeah." She's like, "All by yourself?" "Yeah, you wrote that all by yourself." And it's like, Katie, some people do that.
And who dressed you?
Yeah, right.
Who
Exactly.
designed your ice cream cones?
How did you get here?
Oh, boy. Yes.
Well, and we're forgetting the greatest cinematic judge of all time, Bob Duvall.
God?
That's right.
Oh, right, of course. Yeah.
I'm the judge.
Here come the judge. This is a complete tangent, but there is
that I pooped on myself.
Big Eyes does contain.
I find myself guilty.
Sorry, go ahead. Rich.
I have a great poop story I'm going to tell you off mic.
Wow, what a tease.
Yeah.
Is it a celebrity poop story?
Can it be a Patreon exclusive?
Depends on your perception of celebrity, but no,
can't
it's not.
fucking
It's
wait.
not.
A tease.
It's not. It's not a celebrity. But there is a scene in the movie Big Eyes that came out in 2014 in which Amy Adams says, "No, Big Lolo."
Oh, boy.
It's great. I took a note. I just wrote, "No, Big Lolo."
What I was going to say is, A, Christoph Waltz is not the filmmaker. So I don't think there's anything wrong with him saying, like, my character has not lied. He is innocent.
Right.
Because his job is to...
Advocate for his character.
Well, yeah, and this guy is pathological.
Right.
And it's like, how is this different than, like, R. Kelly in the Gayle King interview? Where people go, like, I can't believe he's lying this much.
Right.
But I genuinely think R. Kelly believes he's innocent.
Right.
You know, I mean, there is this thing that people talk about with like abusers, whether it's like emotional abuse, whether it's like workplace abuse, you know, plagiarism, sexual abuse, like any of these things, that they have like a pathological condition where they view themselves as the victims.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Where they truly believe, and it's the thing they talk about in the Elizabeth Holmes documentary, where he's like, I believe if you hooked her up to a lie detector, it would not go off.
Right.
Like
Right.
she fully believes in the reality of what she's saying. And it's like a coping mechanism, you know?
For all
For
the
the
lying
reality they
she's
want to
doing.
live.
It's
Right.
like the Rachel Dolezal effect.
It's all this shit. Right. Like,
Oh, Rachel.
I mean, we
Dolezal.
have been dealing with a lot of people like this in the last 10 years.
Right.
Either cases blowing up or people who have been famous forever being revealed for living this way for decades,
Right.
you know? And like these people who like place themselves out in the public eye are very loudly telegraphing the things that they should be getting caught for with no sense of like strategy.
Right.
And they
Right.
never fucking back down. And I think the key thing is that like Walter Keane goes to his grave being like, I don't know what that whole trial was about.
Almost certainly, right? Like
Right.
it does. I mean, but the fact that he did the thing where he's like, and now to paint, I pick up the brush. Like
Incredible.
my injury.
Yeah.
I've recurred an injury, even though I painted like, you know, a mural the size of a house one time.
But like you hear stories about that as someone who just like the
No,
doctor
of course,
never
yes.
found any evidence that they had this injury,
Well,
and they
no,
maintain that they did for 30 years.
as the movie reveals, he's this lifelong scammer. He's
Right.
getting paintings shipped out from. He's getting bad paintings
Yeah.
shipped to him from Paris.
And
Right.
in the scene where she confronts him about that, you see how quick he can lie.
He
'Cause
lies
he's like,
quickly.
"Oh no, it's
Yeah.
scenic. You know, that's what they called me."
Scenic.
And it's like-
And then
Yeah.
when she sort of is like clearly no longer interested in this, he just shuts down as soon as
Right.
sits down. Like he just has nothing else to do.
Yeah.
But it's like he's like a rabid animal. It's like just survival,
Mhm.
which is like the same thing as President of the United States. But
Who?
President Donald James Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Donald John Trump. I think the other thing is like that. Not to keep on using these two examples, but they're Okurant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Billy McFarland
Mm-hmm.
and Elizabeth Holmes are both people, much like Walter Keane, where it's like the big thing they're going for is the public persona of like, I've always wanted to be an artist. Like that he's so embarrassed that he is a realtor, even if he's successful,
Right.
because he loves the idea of being someone who succeeds on their art.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so much more important to him than making art. In the same way that Elizabeth Holmes is like doing an impression of Steve Jobs.
Right.
And she's just like, somehow I'm going to figure out this technology. Like, I think Walter Keane genuinely sits in that courtroom and is staring at that easel and goes, I'm going to figure out how to paint this in any second now. I'm going to figure out how to paint this because I have the spirit of an artist. It doesn't matter
Because
that I haven't physically painted before.
He walked into the room. I mean, he
Right.
he could have just been like, "Oh, never mind," you know.
Right.
But he's like, he gets far enough to sit at the fucking easel,
Right,
and yeah,
right. And Billy McFarland's the same thing of just like the fact that they're like the night, 3 hours before the planes are arriving.
right. The fact that he actually went to was on the island.
Yeah.
like it's like, dude, this is not gonna.
These people believe
Yeah.
that they're gonna keep on getting out of it.
Right.
It's
it's
like
because
getting a
right.
gym membership.
Right.
You not gonna
You're
go.
never gonna go.
But he has that one moment where he says, like, I so badly wanted to be an artist,
Yeah.
right? And then he just sort of tails off and doesn't finish the sentence.
Right.
And it feels like he's kind of going to admit it, finally.
Yeah.
But then he just doesn't. Like he sort of hits the wall of like,
But
he
he
can't
also,
articulate.
Right. He
his-
frames it so much as like, I'm embarrassed that I'm not taken seriously as an artist, even when I'm selling art.
right.
You know?
Right. So Big Eyes.
Yeah.
We're talking a lot about Christoph Waltz.
Mm.
Can we talk about Jason Schwartzman's character?
Oh, yeah.
We can, but I was going to say something about Christoph Waltz.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can talk about
That
Jason
looks very
Schwartzman.
upset.
Well, I was,
Yeah.
I just want to point out we're talking about him because he's the interesting character, and she's not like in the movie much, and
She's
like
in it a lot.
Yeah,
she's
she's
just a
there.
very passive character.
right. And we,
And there,
You know-
there are like flashes of stuff that like could, I don't know, give her some depth, like the Jehovah's Witness thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's kind of an
but
indication.
Burton's kind
in-
of afraid to get too
Well,
deep
right.
into that, I think.
But there's
Right?
also-
right. He just doesn't want to explore.
There's
it
also
too
an
hard.
indication
Yeah.
throughout the film, especially toward the end when she's in Hawaii, that she had something of a drinking problem, perhaps. Like there was stuff that
I
like
think she plays all of that well.
I think
mean,
she plays it
yeah.
subtly, but like
She's
the
a good
problem is
actress.
that the
She's an excellent actress. Yeah.
like the fucking Austrian Grover next to her is like taking up all the oxygen.
Well, yes, there's a little bit of the like Anne Hathaway, James Franco thing here,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the difference is it's not a lack of commitment on
Yeah.
her part.
Right.
It's almost that she's playing the kind of person who gets taken advantage of so well that she disappears into the movie a little bit.
Right.
Right.
And I guess like it's
You have to
not-
work
yeah.
harder to engage with her performance
Right.
because she's so pulled back.
And it's not the movie's fault that we, or the kind of movie fandom world
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is an Amy Adams movie. It's her Oscar. The movie is not called Margaret Keane. It's called Big.
Yes.
It's not solely about her. It's not
No.
built that way.
Why are
No.
they
But for
so
whatever reason,
big?
it was kind of packaged, to be big or
Why are
to
they
be,
so big?
I do think that kind of like was one of the things that handicapped the movie though, was that
That the
everyone
eyes were so
was
big?
the eyes were too big. No, that the narrative was so much like this is going to be an
Yeah.
Amy Adams vehicle. This
Yeah.
is like her big Oscar showcase. So then when people saw the movie, they were immediately disappointed because it's
Yeah.
not that.
And who would? I mean,
It
why?
was her Globe showcase.
Why is anyone surprised that Tim Burton saw a story and was like, I'm going to mostly focus on the creep? Like
Right.
That makes total sense. It's just like for whatever reason, the packaging of the movie made it seem like it was a star vehicle for Adams, and it's not.
Let's talk about it.
Mhm.
Ben's chomping at the bit. Jason Schwartzman performance. Come on.
He's like fourth build?
Sure.
I just never think that art world people are portrayed well
Yes.
in films.
Wait, you think he's a little bit of a caricature, this guy?
What about
Yeah.
Terrence Stamp? He's portrayed in a way that's very compelling and light.
I totally forgot he was in the movie until, like, he just on the TV, he's like, hello, this is Big Brother.
Yeah, no, I was going to say it's so dystopian.
Yeah.
Face fills the
Citizens.
frame.
Yeah.
It's one
Here
of
is my
favorite
art
things.
review for this week. It's so weird.
It's like that's the Burton-y touches that I like,
Yeah.
right? where like the sort of Circean heightened
I like
thing is coming,
the
is coming
Circean
off
thing,
well.
and then I also like when like Waltz goes into full maniac mode, it like becomes like Night of the Hunter. Like Bill Guyberi
Right.
said he, like me, a true defender of this movie.
Yeah.
Who thinks it
We love
doesn't
him.
get enough credit
Future
for
guest. Past and future guest.
how willing it is to wildly variate, very shift in tone and genre and all of that.
Sure.
But he said, like, my take is this is Burton's like truest horror movie. Like, this is his only movie about someone actually being like trapped.
Right.
Because he makes a lot of films about like the weirdo who isn't understood.
Right.
And this is like very much a movie about like a victim and an abuser.
It is.
You know?
It 100% is.
And he heightens it to that level. Like even Amy
That's
Adams
where I
driving
think
away
he's
in the
not
car.
heightening it enough. That's sort of my problem. Like, I want more nightmare. There's so many scenes of him going in there and being like, you should open a window.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is frightening.
Terrifying.
Like, right?
She's like kept in this like
Yeah.
She's like Mrs.
Yeah.
Havisham. Like
But
she's
she's-
like
right.
the weird,
But
like
she's just
right.
sort of like, what are you going
Right.
to do? You know? And she has this sort of whimsical scenes like when she talks to the dog.
Yes.
You know, good reaction shot from the dog.
Yeah.
I also think you could
and then one time she faints.
you could mine
Yeah.
a lot out of the daughter, which he
Yes,
kind of just like
totally.
ignores, and in fact,
Yes.
like
Even
cast
though-
an actor to play the older version of her who can't really act, and
Can't
it's just
really
like
the weakest performance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, but even you could like one of her best scenes is when she's crying about like how she's lying to her daughter.
Yeah.
Where Adams is killing it. She's
Yeah.
good at it. Like
Mhm.
you
So
set
good.
it up and she knocked it down.
Yeah.
And the eyes, they're big as well.
Very.
But right, you know, it sort of just feels like a thing that happened. You know, not maybe foreground that a little more.
Yeah, I
don't know.
also think they could have spent more time with the whole like rocket ball and the big stadium and all, you know, like that
Sure.
all that. Like I just
Sure.
felt like, I mean, that scene is great, but
I like all the art world stuff as ridiculous as it is.
5 comedy points, Richard.
Yeah.
No one gave that credit.
it's an Alita joke for you.
Yeah.
Those of you who haven't seen it.
I love
It's probably not. Is it called rocket ball?
No, it's
No,
called
it's I already
Motorball.
forgot.
Motorball, darn it. Okay.
What's
Do you know what Alita also made me think? We
What?
need an F-Zero movie. Like all that motorball stuff and like
interesting.
combined with Speed Racer, I'm like, can we finally get not just crazy racing, right?
Yeah.
But also I want to see like Captain Falcon get out of his car and then go to like wherever the locker
Go to dinner.
and like deal with what Captain Falcon would be like. Like what is that?
We'll add it to the slate.
Thank you.
What's the name of Surprise Cameo's character, the puppet master in Battle Angel Big Eyes?
Nova.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I said
Spoilers.
surprise cameo.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Well, you remember there's also the other surprise cameo in the Motorball.
Screwhead.
No, well, we do stand a legend.
We stand a legend.
Screwhead's great. I mean, Candlehead from,
Yeah.
Screwhead I feel like is related to Candlehead from Wreck-It Ralph.
No question.
Jai Courtney.
I might have totally missed that.
You may have missed
Oh,
this. Jai
right.
Courtney
He
is
plays
in
one of the Rabbit
shot.
Man?
Is that a
Yes.
cameo at this point?
Yeah.
Or is that just
Well,
a job?
Yeah.
I listened to this interview with John Landau, who produced the movie.
Yeah.
It is like Cameron's guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, Jai just wanted to do it. And like in a sequel, maybe he would do more.
Wow.
But there's this one shot where it's before she's playing, but when she's like behind
Yeah.
in the locker rooms, and you just see him, and they're like, "Well, that's the biggest star," and he's like, "Tighten up, my screws, love," or whatever
Yeah.
he's fucking saying, And
Oh,
it's
maybe I
Jai
did
Courtney.
pick up on
Yeah,
it.
he's he's a big potato head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. We stand alone.
yeah, we do. I agree.
Yeah.
So, I agree. So,
I agree. So.
Grayso shot first.
How we doing?
Great. Ben has purchased a clock because he thinks the show is running too long.
I don't know what he's talking
A
about. If anything, the
controversial
show's too short.
stance.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just tried to check the clock and knocked the clock over.
Yes,
so
he
things
did.
are going good.
Right.
So she's painting furniture. She's a divorce.
The movie
a
starts with her
divorcee.
leaving a bad marriage.
Yes, we
Yeah.
don't see the bad marriage, but
Right.
she's
this,
left it.
This is a woman who you get the sense is quick to fall for charismatic and controlling men.
Yeah.
Sure,
Perhaps
and
does
also,
not realize her own inner
Yes.
strength.
Right. And that's the
also,
thing.
it's the 50s, and it's tough to be a single mom.
And she loves painting. Like she seems to just like painting for the sake of painting.
And she has
Right.
training.
Yes.
She has training, and she is, genuinely, as she's always derisively telling,
Right.
What's his name? Walter.
Yes.
Like I sketch I do preliminary
Right.
drawings. I have
I have a
reasons for what
process,
I do.
right. And the other thing is that she has this kitschiness that people don't get, that people either really strongly react to or go like, why would you do this?
Right.
And the answer is like, I don't know. This is just sort of like,
This is my thing.
this is my thing,
The eyes
which
are
is
big.
which is kind of Burton-y.
I
Totally.
know.
You know,
It
like I don't know.
is.
What can I tell you? Like, this is my aesthetic. These are
And
the stories I'm taking.
It's another thing I kind of want from the movie, which
Yeah.
is like, get into what the fuck is up with her. But it sort of gets too bogged down in the theft stuff.
Yeah.
But she painted all these big eyes.
Their eyes are pretty big.
And when you ask her about it, she says things like, "Oh, the eyes are the window to the soul, and I love the children are sad, maybe my feelings." But like, I want to know
They
more
don't have to be
about.
floor to ceiling windows.
She tells
You're
the
opening
story.
with that Warhol quote. Like, I want to dig into like the weird sort of kitschy like
Yeah.
marketing of it all. I like all that stuff. Like when they're selling
It's
the
great.
posters, all that process. and stuff.
She tells the
Yeah.
story about going deaf as a child.
yes.
She had surgery. She went deaf temporarily.
So she had to spend time looking at
reading people's eyes.
Right.
Which I think does
It's interesting.
make sense. And I really like the supermarket scene
Right.
where she starts seeing everyone around her with the big eyes.
plaintive sort of.
Right, you
Yeah.
get the notion in the same way that Burton always sketches like 17 rings around characters' eyes,
Mhm.
you know? And teardrop heads. It's just
Right.
like that's how she like funnels her
She's
perception.
funneling.
Right.
I agree.
That's the way she interprets energy, human energy.
And you see her sort of her style evolve too,
Yeah.
and then she's able to compartmentalize between the waifs or whatever she calls them, the big-eyed waifs,
Waifs, yeah.
and
Right.
this new form that she's doing, which is more sort of elongated,
Right.
and,
The Modigliani.
Right.
yeah, right.
But they have the
Danny Houston's in
same
this movie.
energy to
Yeah.
them. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
maybe the technique is a little heightened.
Yeah,
But it is this thing of like that I think, you know, Burton is fighting at this point in his career where people are like, ugh, does he like care about anything? Is he so cynical? He's just doing an impression of himself. And I
Yeah.
think he's like, I don't know. I'm like trying to make the most honest thing I can
Right.
to some degree. And I don't really know why it's working or it isn't.
right.
Sure.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. And people like it.
Sometimes people sell it successfully.
Right.
Sometimes they don't.
I think that thing was fascinating when the show is flooded with people, but
Yeah.
they're people who don't afford art,
Right.
you can't buy art,
Right.
so they sell the posters. Like, you know, I like all that stuff a
That's
lot.
like the fact that he's
And that's
always
Walter's-
been weirdly a populist guy despite being esoteric.
right.
That Burton's style is so unique, but he hits as a major studio filmmaker.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Well, I was going to ask about the artist, her legacy.
hmm
I don't feel like she's really considered an established, like she's more an outsider, is the sense I've always had
I
of
think
her reputation.
now her work is viewed as like a fad. It's like that was like Pet
Yeah.
Rocks.
It
That was
it's-
like a period of time
Lisa
where
Frank.
everyone had one.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Kitsch is certainly the word, you know,
Right.
and like it's the kind of thing that you could like buy in a Walgreens,
Right.
like rather than at like an art, like an art
Right.
museum or
Norman-
something.
Norman,
right.
Norman Rockwell-esque almost.
Yeah.
Even kitschier,
even more
though.
so, right.
Who's the one who paints those weird Kincaid?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
The
wait.
Master of Lights.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
right. The
Painter
painter
of
of light.
Lights.
Yeah,
Painter of
him.
Light, yeah.
It's like that.
Right. But she was like, I mean, he with her art was like the first example of someone really understanding how to like franchise their work
Well,
like that.
but-
And I think because they blew it up so big, its lasting legacy is it's a fad because it got too loud.
Right.
That then when people got over it, they like totally threw it away.
Yeah, of course,
And
because it was
certainly,
everywhere.
even at the time, no art critics like took it seriously.
Sure.
Like Rockwell,
Oh, you don't think Terrence Stamp's into it?
I don't know. It's hard to read that character and where he stands on the paintings. But someone like Rockwell, like his reputation now is upheld by all those filmmakers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Lucas and Spielberg and all these guys love Rockwell. But Rockwell still isn't like taken seriously as an artist. They're like, that's like a thing you buy at like a fucking Walmart, you know?
I guess. Well, Rockwell was in like the U.S. What's it called? You know, one of those weekly periodicals. Like,
Right.
that's where he was. I forget what it's. Saturday Evening Post. That was
Yes.
the one.
Right.
But you know, Rockwell probably would hang in a museum. I don't know if a Keane would hang
some
in
of
a
hose work
museum.
also had a political dimension, like
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
particularly
right.
with the
I think
the New
people
Deal.
have come around to it
desegregation
more
and stuff,
now.
yeah.
Yes.
I don't know about Keane. Keane, I feel like right. She's more in that sort of mass markety zone.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean about outsider art, and then it was. Who else would have thought to do? It's so
Right.
specific, especially in this pre-anime,
Yes.
pre-Japanese influence
Right.
era. Like the idea of these sort of like cute children, like where
Right.
it's sort of like they're almost creepily cute. Like what's going
Right.
on?
Right. There's nothing like that in Western culture.
Why are they crying?
Because I think she's a very sad person.
Well, she was locked in her turpentine dungeon.
Right, she picks up on other people's innate sadness. Like she's just like a very
You
fragile.
think she's an
human being.
empath?
I think she's an empath. I think that's what that scene in the supermarket's about.
Yeah, I mean that scene's interesting. That's another thing though.
Yeah.
I feel like, are we going to do more of it? You know what I mean? Like, your
I wish
arguments
there was
are
more of
fine.
that. Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
But I think that is the take on it is just like she sees everyone's sadness. Like
Yeah.
that's the overpowering thing that she's picking up on.
And she's a sad lady.
Right. So she is just like, I don't know. That's what like people look like to me.
Big eyes.
Big eyes.
Mhm.
Richard.
Yeah. Oh, Kristen Ritter's in the movie.
Jessica Jones herself.
Kind of surprising that she doesn't become like a Burton kind of regular.
She certainly has the
feels. Yeah,
Right.
totally.
That's a good point.
Right.
I guess she got busy being Jessica.
She
Jones.
could have been Winona in Beetlejuice in a different era.
Right. And then
100%.
Eva Green becomes his new muse.
Well, she bewitched him.
she bewitched him.
Yeah.
John Polito.
One of his last performances.
I love him.
The great John Polito.
Love John Polito.
Yeah.
He's the guy who's like, what? I rent a place.
Oh, I love him.
Hang up
Yeah.
your arm. What do I care?
Who's
I got a beret.
He's like a Simpsons character. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Polito?
Fucking Miller's Crossing.
Yeah, right.
Tries to give me the
that's
hi-hat.
right. Yeah.
That's
Hi-hat is
unbeatable.
one of the greatest
It is.
terms.
It is one of the
Walk
greatest.
in here trying to
terms.
give me the hi-hat.
Polito, I love. Danny Houston in just one of those Danny Houston performances. He sits behind a desk and
It's one of
is
those
sort
things
of
where he's like,
satanic.
I just wanted to work with Tim Burton.
Sure.
I don't.
Well, that's the same
like,
thing with
it's
the
not-
Schwartzman thing. Like, it's
The
very
Schwartzman
weird
thing
to have
is
Schwartzman playing
wandering
this
in from like anything else or a Woody Allen movie. Just
Right. Because he has like one dialogue scene,
He
and then
makes
there are
me
like
laugh,
three
at least.
reaction
Like, I
shots.
like it.
He's
Yeah.
funny. In
I like
it.
the one where he's like, "Why would anyone want
Want
any
credit.
of them?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
why would
everyone
you-
want credit. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it.
No, it's funny, but like at the time, I mean, I guess 2014, like Schwartzman's peak had sort of he was down from his kind of height.
I mean, he's
right?
doing. I mean, he's. Let's see. Yeah, he just. I don't know. He's just in so much stuff. Like
I
he
think
always.
Schwartzman turns
been in
down
Scott
a lot
Pilgrim,
of big
yeah.
studio stuff
Mhm.
too.
You know, he'd done Bored to Death, which had
Right.
wrapped up a couple years earlier,
Yeah,
and then he's working on Mozart in the Jungle. I forgot he was.
he
a
one
writer
of the
on
creators.
that.
Of
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's weird.
Huh.
He turns down a lot of big
Hmm.
studio franchisee stuff. Like he's one of those guys where it's like I don't care if the
Right.
part isn't interesting, and would rather play a smaller part.
Right.
He does a lot of small parts,
Right.
In general, like
Yeah.
looking at his, his movies.
Who's he related to again?
The whole
He's a
Coppola
Coppola
family.
He's one of the
Oh.
It's that tree with the Coppolas and Cage.
Sure.
Right.
All true. The
that was
eyes are big.
Our friend Joe
Very
Reed
big. Joe Reed.
texted us. He went to a movie trivia night, and the question was, how many Academy Award nominations do the Coppola family have?
Oh, wow.
Right.
But what was super tricky about it was it included
in-laws. Right.
Right.
Yes.
so it included Patricia Arquette and Spike
Oh, wow.
Jones, which I don't think is fair.
No, that's not fair.
No, it didn't seem fair.
No.
Was there anyone else too? There was one who was Talia Shire married to?
Oh, she was married to
Wasn't there that too? Like it was
Yes.
like oh fuck. Well, it's a
Yeah.
Schwartzman, right?
No, but Schwartzman never got any nominations, right?
No, I know, but like, isn't her? Oh no, she was,
was the
married
other
to
husband.
David Shire,
That's who it was.
the composer
Right.
Oh, wow.
of like great jazz
Right.
scores.
Because Schwartzman produced Being There, but Being There wasn't nominated for Best Picture.
Rude.
Yeah, very rude. David,
Yes.
we all need someone to talk to.
Oh, a person who can support us through the rough patches or even the everyday ups and downs of life.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where Talkspace comes in.
Oh, that's where they come in because Talkspace is therapy for how we live today.
Yeah, it's very mobile. It's available wherever you need it, and it's affordable.
Look, I'm going to tell you something
Okay.
that I have learned.
Brace
firsthand.
yourself. Brace yourself.
Life can be stressful.
What?
Oh,
Between work,
What?
family,
You're paying the rent.
and everything in between, if you
Yeah,
know what
such
I'm
as
talking
paying the
about.
rent.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one thing I was referring to.
Right.
It's not always easy to find time for yourself. I know this myself.
Right.
You know?
Right. Totally.
But if I could just take a moment to motivate our audience, Talkspace Online Therapy makes taking care of your mental health more affordable and convenient than ever before.
Yep. You just put in your preferences for therapy. Talkspace will match you with one of 4,000 therapists the very same day, and you can send them unlimited text, audio, pictures, or video messages from anywhere at any time. Ben does this.
I'd like to spotlight unlimited. You can just keep sending them stuff.
Ben would
They
apparently
gotta
send
answer.
pictures of
Yeah.
everything.
Oh yeah, I was just like basically sending my therapist like kind of like a story of what I'm doing day to day.
He's not kidding.
No, I'm not.
A story of what am I doing day to day. I'll say this. Here's the thing, okay? I had a great therapist for years. I loved him. Then he retired.
happens.
Hurt me.
I remember this. You kind of took it personal.
Yeah. Because it's a really strong connection you got, right?
It is, and it can be hard to replace.
And that's the thing. What's scary, it's like post-divorce, you're like, how do I find a new person?
Right.
And I went, I'd see someone, I'd be like, this is not the same. I'm freaked out. I can't put myself back into it.
Sure.
Where do I start back from the beginning? Talkspace has so many therapists that the process of finding the right one doesn't have to be stressful because the matching process takes your unique preferences into account to find someone whose style and expertise matches your needs. If you want to switch therapists,
Yeah.
hey,
It doesn't cost anything.
do so at any time.
Exactly.
It's not like changing your gym location, you know? Within a chain, they just go, cool, here's another one.
Yep. No,
We're going
if
to keep
that's not
on
working
giving you
out-
options until you find one that matches.
We've had blankies who've talked on the Reddit about how they got connected to this service and they love it. It's more affordable than seeing a regular therapist. Seriously.
We have
guys, try it out.
producers whose talk.
That's true.
Yeah, don't wait for your next appointment to talk about what's on your mind.
No.
With Talkspace, you can send unlimited
All right.
messages to your dedicated therapist from the privacy of your own device.
And look, it's great that they offer that. Ben's really abusing it. But
Yeah,
just
sure.
know that you do have that
From
level of
anywhere,
opportunity.
from like the
I'm gonna-
pits near
I'm
my
gonna call
home
it actually.
at
He's
any
got a
time
pit.
of day,
He's got a pit.
probably
There's a pit
late
near
at
Small
night.
Fine.
That's
Small
pretty cool
fine
to go
is
there.
what he calls
Yeah.
his apartment.
All right. So Talkspace is more
Small
than
is fine.
Talkspace has more than 4,000 licensed therapists who are experienced in addressing the challenges that we all face. To match with your perfect therapist for a fraction of the price of the traditional therapy, go to Talkspace.com. Make sure to use the code CHECK to get $45 off your first month
That's a good chunk off.
and show your support for the show. That's CHECK and Talkspace.com.
Okay, can I make a couple more defenses?
Oh my God. Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Because what else is going to happen
Griffin
in this
has a
episode?
stack
You
of
can
papers.
criticize the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to defend myself. I'm representing myself in this trial, okay? First of all, it's a good-looking $10 million movie.
Yeah. Bruno
That's for sure.
Delbonnel shot it, and he's one of the greats, in my
Right,
opinion.
and I think the production design is great.
There's that
Right.
great when she first shows up in San Francisco and she's meeting Kristen Ritter and it's like at the top of the hill. It just looks good. It looks period. It's like, yeah.
And that's a big thing. The colors really pop in this movie.
Sure.
I think the compositions are really interesting. And coming like right after like fucking... You
Ben's
disagree?
shaking his head. Doesn't like the comps? Big comps.
He's
I'm getting
got
a bottle
a
of water.
lot of good like two shots. There's a lot of like really smart coverage in this movie where he's not just cutting in between like talking heads. You know, even that scene like in the house before they leave, Christoph Waltz before he locks them in and starts throwing matches through the keyhole. He's sort of doing the Night of the Hunter, like big shadows from that triangle house.
It's a weird house.
It's
Right.
a weird house.
Very
And these
weird.
like real lonely like coverage where they're just like stuck in the middle of like his looming silhouette.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that I love. And I think you go like this is coming after like Alice in Wonderland where it's like he has like
It's actually coming
$200
right
million.
after Dark Shadows.
Yes.
Right.
But $200 million and a green screen and he can do whatever he wants and it looks like nothing.
Yeah.
And you're reminded of the practicality of this guy being able to come up with good images if you actually give him a location.
Right.
Even not designing his own sets, even not like building a fucking forest. He can shoot a house in a way that is more compelling than most people as a visualist.
I don't disagree with that.
I also think that there are a lot of really funny edits in this movie.
Go on.
Like I think he
Because I think these are fair things to talk about with Burton, and we're almost done with Burton.
yes,
Like,
so
he's very good
I
at
want to bring up some of
composition.
these things
Yeah, no,
that,
sure,
that are just innate to even when he's making a bad movie, and I'm not saying this is a bad movie, but that he usually is able to retain to some degree.
Right.
I think this comes out of being an animator, and that he was literally the guy who was having to like create his own shots and time them,
Right.
and figure out how to like make each shot as effective as possible because you don't want to animate 30,000 shots. There's like a really good cut. The build of Christoph Waltz coming into the bar to take the paintings after the Polito story has broken out in the newspaper. Polito bringing him into the back kitchen. Them
Yeah.
having that look of like, we're getting headlines.
Hey,
And then the hard cut to
Give me the
Polito chasing,
Right.
Waltz out of the kitchen, screaming, putting on the show for everyone else.
Right.
And the way they cut to Schwartzman or Houston or all those people when the things are kind of like going. Here's another thing that we haven't talked about at all, okay? Opening credit sequence is good, which, Burton's always good at. Even in his bad movies, like even Planet of the Apes, it's like he's very good at like setting the tone of what he wants the movie to be and what the big visual motif is and all of that, right? I think Burton doesn't get enough credit for how good he is at sound because I think in every one of his movies, there's a lot of smart sound design work in terms of how each environment feels different. When he has like the creaking of the floorboards in a house, you know, I mean, it comes out of like old William Castle, like shock tactics and all of that. But I feel like even something like Dark Shadows that's all over the place, he like gets the feel of the mansion in that movie. In the same way that in this film, I feel like the courtroom sounds very different than their houses do when it's a smaller house, when they're sort of drowning in a bigger palace, when she's in Hawaii. I think he's really good at setting like an oral tone to environments.
Do you like Tim Burton?
I like him, and I just want him to be making good movies.
This movie is okay.
This movie's
It's
good.
fine, which is worse.
Yes,
In a way, you know.
I agree.
Like I wish I like hated it.
Basically, what Griffin's saying, like when you cite these specific shots and stuff, like the matches, the looming, I'm like, yeah. But then there's also just so much in this movie that feels like filler to me.
See, I'm so engrossed by this movie.
I mean, no, I'm with Richard. It's fun to read about it. It's crazy that they painted. I mean, they didn't even paint.
Yeah.
She painted.
Yeah.
He didn't paint.
He didn't paint.
No paint.
He maybe never painted.
Richard.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask. What do you think of like Tim Burton in general? Now that we're sort of talking Burt.
Tim Burton is somebody who I think first became aware of with Batman Returns, and then I think I was like kind of there was a Beetlejuice cartoon.
Yes.
And I was like, I know this is based on something.
Sure.
And so I guess at some point must have sought that out, but was a little wary of it because I didn't like that it was going to be gross. You know?
Sure.
Oh,
And the
there's
cartoon,
bugs.
they're
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
In
Right.
the movie, they are not.
That's exactly right. That also made me like kind of nervous. I was like,
Cartoon's
wait,
kind
he's
of Calvin
bad?
and Hobbes type.
Yeah.
Unlikely friendship.
Yeah.
Right.
And so then after that, like I went to go see Mars Attacks in the theater, walked out and was like with my sister, and I was like, oh, that was bad. And then
So you didn't stand a legend.
Then I
Wow.
got home and I was like, wait, no, I love that movie.
Wow, it took that.
Yeah.
It was only the
Like
journey home.
It was really quick because
Yeah.
I think it was just not what I was expecting.
Sure.
And then it was so anyway. So I considered myself like I was like I will happily go see every Tim Burton movie. And then pretty quickly after that, he started
He
letting me
burned you
down. And then by the time we got to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which after listening to your episode, I think I need to revisit. I was like, fuck this. I hate all this. I hate the rapping Oompa Loompas or whatever it was. Like I was just like, I can't do this. And then Alice in Wonderland, you know.
But of course, I mean, your biggest credit, you are the pull quote on the Blu-ray
Oh,
for
that's
Mrs.
right.
Peregrine's Home for
That's
Physical
right.
Best
Illness.
in years, which is not necessarily a compliment. No, I think Miss Peregrine felt like a return to something that, like, that world felt like what you're talking about, like kind of more fully realized. And I think that, like, going back to Dark Shadows, the way that he stages the town is great. I love that little seaside town.
Yeah.
You know, so like, I think maybe he's coming back to something.
Yeah.
I think that
Peregrine has
with
moments like that too.
Alice in
Yes.
Wonderland was just
Yeah.
such a mess of CGI
Well,
and
it's
green
worse
screen
for
and all that
Right.
shit. Like, and it's just so
You
awful.
need to keep him on sets.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No
Keep him on
question.
sets. Keep him away from CGI fill-in shit as much as possible.
It's also one of those things where, like, it is very difficult. There are very few people who are good at composing images in green screen movies.
There are also very few eyes that have ever been this big.
Yeah,
They're big
that
eyes.
is true. You don't say you watch Alita, which has a lot of CGI stuff in it. It has more practical locations than I thought there would be.
Yeah.
Well, they built like the city set. They
Right.
had like that.
But
Yeah.
like Rodriguez, through like all his trial and error of doing all those movies, and Cameron certainly, like, they understand how to compose a frame in a green screen space that still looks like how you would shoot a movie.
Yeah.
But most directors need to be on a set, see where the
Yeah.
actors are blocked in relation to the walls and the
Yeah.
architecture, and then figure out their angles and how to light and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
And so when you get like Alice in Wonderland, where he's like, I don't know, walk towards the camera.
They're just
and
just
then he
anywhere.
just hands the footage to someone, and they paint 1,000 like, you know, tulips jerking off.
They did do that, which
did.
was weird.
There's that
considering
weird
the
tulip
rating.
bukkake scene.
In Tulip Fever?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
talking Tulip Fever.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Alice.
These
Yeah.
tulips keep coming.
Yeah,
Can I express my
like a
thoughts on Tim Burton?
bukkake party. Yes.
So I've been kind of going through Neil Young, Bob Dylan, some of these like, you know, really established musicians.
The
but
Tim
they're-
Burtons of music.
They're
yeah.
later stuff, okay? Because like
Sure.
we all have like the albums that
Yeah.
represent like their peak, and
Uh-huh.
then it's like sort of, oh my god, they still were putting out
So
music.
are you trying to reassess the later work to see if it has merit?
Also,
Yes.
who are you
Okay.
thinking of as a musician analog? Give me some.
I don't really have it. I'm just saying more. This is what I'm going through. So
Yeah.
like,
You talking about how like the Rolling Stones like released like 10 more albums after all of their
Well,
good
And
albums?
they sell really well, and no
Yeah,
one
they
talks
go
about
on
the later
tour
stuff.
and so
Right.
the Rolling Stones is
Right.
this perfect example
Yeah.
because it's like, you know, when I was a younger man, I used to be like, I don't want to listen to some old fucking dude. But
Yeah.
now, of course, I've grown and matured, and I've realized like they are a master at what they do. So they're
Okay.
on the planet longer. They've experienced more life.
Wait a second,
They were
what?
actually write better music and songs. So I've been reassessing
Sure.
all of
Okay,
these
well,
people's like back catalog.
I have a
The
big
back end of the catalog.
But then
Right.
you think of Rolling Stones,
Yeah.
and they've continued to put music out and
Yeah.
continue to play, but it's garbage.
I'm gonna
So I kind of feel like with Tim Burton,
Yeah.
and I don't think
they
you're gonna
feel like
like
late
this.
period Rolling Stones.
Yes, Tim Burton
Yeah.
should stop. He has nothing
All right,
more to say.
I'm gonna say something.
He's not the master.
Ben, and we might have to cut this out. So,
Oh.
just FYI, it's not a big deal. It's just I was talking to Alex Ross Perry
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
the other week at his wife's birthday,
Uh-huh.
and he debuted this theory to me. And I'm not sure if this theory is like fit for public consumption yet. So, just in case it's not, I'll check with him after.
Okay.
Basically, there's no director.
We were talking about this. Yes.
Yes, apart from maybe in the classic era, where the last part of their career is their best chunk of their career. You know, like if you were gonna say like, what are their 5 best, five
They
films
went out
in a
on
row?
top. Yeah.
There's no director where you'd be like, the last 5 films are the best 5.
Right. Well, we
No.
don't know what U-Boat's going to do, so let's not.
And Burton's definitely pretty emblematic of that. Like
Yeah.
he's a classic example of
Well,
that.
and
Where
but the thing that you and I were talking about off of this is that like most filmmakers have a run where they're
Yeah.
like most in the pocket.
Mhm.
And like M. Night Shyamalan has talked about this a lot, about how he like scared himself into trying to make good movies again. Because he's like, when I started out, I was like very naive about a lot of things.
Right.
And I was developing my technical craft.
Right.
And like Sixth Sense, when you like get to that, it's like the perfect fulcrum point between like what I don't know and what I do know. And then I start overthinking things. Like,
Right.
not immediately Unbreakable Rules, but it's like more and more he starts relying on his own experiences. Like, well, I know how to make a movie.
Right.
Like, clearly I've been proven right.
Right.
So he's not second guessing himself. He's not holding his feet to the flame. And he's just trusting his own instincts rather than interrogating his instincts.
Right.
You know? And he also is relying on the fact of like, I have technical skill at this point.
Mhm.
I know how to compose a shot. I know how to edit a sequence. So I shouldn't second guess myself. And
right.
he said, like, I had to mortgage my house to
Yeah,
be scared
that's
enough
the thing. Right.
that my
Right.
movie started getting a little interesting.
Good to
again.
be scared, but
Right.
also bad to be scared.
Yes.
Spooky.
But the other part of that is, I think, like, filmmakers, and it's not always the first part of their career, sometimes it's the middle, it's never really the end, I agree, is like, they hit a point where they're sort of just in sync with the culture. You know?
Right.
So, like,
Well, that's the thing. And I think
Right.
Burton was so Gen X-y and
Yeah.
there was a certain.
Right. And now he's out of sync with the
I mean,
culture.
he
Right.
kinda
Yeah. He
works
had
less
his right.
post 9/11 because you're kind of like,
A lot of
why is this
directors
guy
do.
complaining so much about living in the suburbs where everything's like bright and sunny?
Well,
Well,
but
right.
what about what if he's complaining about the meat pies and
but it's that
London's
right.
a big black pit.
that sort of sarcastic,
Mm.
like, cynicism about happy people.
Right.
Right. Like, what was that character? Emily or something?
Emily the
Emily the
Strange.
Strange.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like that kind
Why
of
didn't
era
Tim
of
Burton ever
things.
make one of those?
I think he
Yeah.
maybe was attached at
Right?
some
With-
point. Yeah.
Or like when I was in like middle school, early high school, like
Yeah.
I was obsessed with Edward Gorey, the
Right.
Ghastly
Of course.
Cartinies, and all
Right.
that stuff. And it's like I still think that's wonderful stuff, but it's also just like we're not sort of at that macabre sort of like
No.
cute, but like I mean we're not at Big Eyes, no one's buying a Big Eyes
stuff
painting
kind
now.
of plays better when culture is kind of normal, and then people
Right.
want to escape into things to be cynical about.
And
when
also,
things are bad, you want Paddington.
yeah,
you
and
know?
Yeah.
right. Well, right, and I also think that like
Imagine if Paddington been married to Christoph Waltz. I don't know.
Tim Burton.
that
It was
something?
my marmalade. It was my recipe. I made it all along. I was in the kitchen.
See,
with
I knew if I
Knuckles
just
McGinty.
threw that up to you, you'd knock it out of the park.
My marmalade.
Sorry, go on, Richard.
I was just saying that like, but pre-internet, Tim Burton offered maybe not exact,
Mhm.
haven for people who were like weird or goth or whatever.
Sure.
But now they can just go to any fucking forum. They can find their
there's a lot
absolute
of it,
niche.
of
And
course.
Burton is just like, oh, but what about my thing? And they're like, well, we don't need that. It's
Yeah.
too inexact. I think,
and he's less in touch with his thing. I think,
Yeah.
just in general, he's a rich guy.
Yeah.
Do you think he got addicted to the money?
I think he got addicted to those greenbacks. No,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is the thing. We often, with these miniseries, we got a real grasp on the director's personality and sort of like where they're at. But with Burton, after he gets married, which we talk about and has kids and stuff, we sort of lose any kind of hold on him in terms of like what's up with Tim Burton.
Right.
Because he gives these kind of laconic interviews.
Yeah.
He does these like laconic director commentaries.
Yeah.
And he sort of like works a lot.
Do you think Big Ears is going to be any good?
I hope so.
I mean, our friends who have seen it
say it's pretty good.
And some of our friends who are not predisposed to liking late period Burton movies.
I mean,
have
no
been
one has
very
told me
hot on
like
it.
this thing is a fucking masterpiece, but most reactions have been positive.
It looks
But
good.
I'll tell you what both you and I have heard a lot of.
What?
It kind of secretly rolls. Like we've had the people in hushed tones like
Right.
being like, I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but
Yeah.
it like kind of secretly fucks.
Because I could see
kind of
see,
rules.
I
That's
could-
what we're
It
hearing.
doesn't rule.
Big ears.
I could see Burton having a sort of late career thing because, which is something I think works about Miss Peregrine.
Mm-hmm.
That because I like stuff about time
Your
travel
favorite
and
movie of all time,
shifting.
to
You
be
know,
clear.
my
Right.
absolute
Right.
favorite movie
Yeah.
is after Spanglish. Is like
Big Sandwich.
it's that kind of wistful feeling. And
Yes.
rather than the kind of like, creepy, cute kind of thing,
Mhm.
like I'm more sort of like, I'm older now, time has passed,
Sure.
I realize the world is like sad in a different way. And like Dumbo could totally tap into that.
Totally.
100%.
You
I
know?
think Peregrine is a classic BBP movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think Asa, it doesn't work, and he doesn't totally crack that
God.
character.
Have you seen Sex Education?
No.
The show. I'm like, why did that kid keep getting acting roles? I'm
It's-
sorry. if
We
he's listening.
talk about this on that episode.
Yeah, he's better when he's British.
Sure. Yes. But it is one of those
Aren't
things
they?
where I think he, and this is the argument you can throw at Big Eyes. He used to be so good at the sort of alienated protagonist.
Sure.
And as time goes on, those characters start to feel more and more disingenuous. Like that's the thing he's not connecting with.
Right.
Is the outsider, which used to be his specialty.
Uh-huh. You
And
can only
so-
do that for so long.
Right. The fact that he seems more interested in vaults, perhaps, than Amy Adams in this
Right.
movie, that Asa Butterfield is like so kind of irrelevant in that film. A similar thing with Alice, where I think once she lands in
Right.
Wonderland,
She's
he
got nothing to
loses
do.
her.
Yeah.
I kind of think the first 20 minutes of Alice, when it's live action, he feels like he has that character.
Yeah.
And then she like flutters away.
Look at
Yeah.
this. This
Well,
is
there
tomorrow.
it is.
This is
The-
Tomorrow
yes.
Forever.
Yeah.
This is
Tomorrow
the
Forever.
painting that she did for the World's Fair that
It's kind of
Robert
awesome.
Moses rejected on the
Yes.
grounds of being too frightening.
Tomorrow Now.
Well, what the
Tomorrow
fuck-
Today.
Forever.
What the fuck
Yeah,
does
Tomorrow
Robert
Forever, that's what
Moses
it is.
know? He was horrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't so great either, but
Big Lies.
it is this sort of bizarre, blasted, like yellow alien landscape
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
steps,
Right.
and then an army of big-eyed children just kind of walking
It's a little
towards
sinister.
you.
What does Margaret Keane know? Like, what
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
what's
It's
coming?
weird.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's awesome exactly, but it's certainly like I want to know about the person who did that.
Yeah.
But then it turns out the story was, well, she married Christoph Waltz, and I'm like, red flag, mistake number one.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
And she, had to stay inside all day and paint big eyes.
That
I
was
mean,
it.
they created an industry.
I mean, good for her that she moved to Hawaii. I like that that's her pivot.
Yeah.
And that house is beautiful.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's a great
Yeah.
pivot.
And I was thinking about that too. I was like, when's the last time I saw Tim Burton do something that was so warm and like
Yeah.
And set in the
peaceful
world.
and set
Right.
in the world, And I think that's nice. I mean, I think this movie's merits are aesthetic, for the most part. I
Yes.
mean, the performances are well. I find Christoph Waltz so off-putting. I know that's kind of
I
the
love that
point,
performance. Yeah.
but like, it's just like by the time you get to the courtroom, you're like, oh my god, someone like killed this guy. Like he's so awful.
I'm very in the bag for Waltz. I like
Yeah.
him a lot, even though he can sometimes kind of repeat himself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
but
what's he doing now? Oh, you know what he is
what's
doing
the
next?
little thing in this one?
He directed a
He
movie.
directed a movie
What?
that's a
That's at
Tribeca,
Tribeca,
called
which
Georgetown.
What's it about?
Georgetown? No, I don't know what it's about. Let's find out.
They announced 4 years ago that longer ago. They announced in 2010 that Universal Studios was making an Emily the Strange movie with Chloe Grace Moritz.
Oh,
She's all wrong for it. What?
that's not right.
That's
Yeah.
terrible. Kristen Ritter or whatever.
In December 20, well, it's supposed to be very young.
Well,
In
a
December
young
2016,
Kristen Ritter,
it was
I don't
reported
know.
that Universal had abandoned the project. Dark Horse Entertainment and Amazon Studios
Interesting.
Oh,
were in negotiations to make an animated film.
A social climber becomes the main suspect in his wealthy wife's death.
oh, that sounds interesting.
It just sounds like Reversal of Fortune,
Yeah.
which, like, if you made Reversal of Fortune now, Christoph Waltz would play Klaus von Bülow, and he'd be like,
Absolutely.
"I did not kill my wife." You know,
I do such a thing. Who is in the film?
it looks like Vanessa Redgrave, Annette Bening, and Corey Hawkins round out the cast.
Interesting. And here's a picture
Georgetown.
also of Waltz in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's saluting. All
With
right.
white hair.
Directorial debut of an actor premiering at Tribeca is sometimes a dicey proposition.
I agree with that.
No offense to the Tribeca Film Festival.
Why?
It's just sort of like,
Because it means it didn't get into Sundance.
yeah, it's a slightly
Okay.
lower tier
Usually.
film festival.
Yeah, usually.
Slightly, I don't know. And then, like, usually when an actor has directed a movie, you're kind of like, well, this could go anyway. You know,
Right.
like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe that, you know, sometimes it works out.
Yeah, I saw that guy's divorce movie.
Gonna need more.
Yeah, just a little
Big
bit.
eyes?
He's weird looking. Dano is his last name.
Paul Dano.
Oh, Wildlife you're thinking of. Yeah.
It's funny that you
That's
said
Dusty
Dano
Divorce
is his
movie.
last name.
It is that guy's
divorce movie.
Not how I would describe that one, but yeah.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Weird
I don't
face.
like
But
that movie.
I like that movie fine. That's on the higher end of actors making a directorial debut at
But
a
their
festival.
eyes are too small.
Agreed.
This is
They
true.
didn't have big eyes.
Big fires. Big
to have-
fires.
Yeah. Although the kid has some big eyes.
Can I read a thing? 9 years ago, I guess like right after Inglourious Basterds, Christoph Waltz announced he was going to transition to directing in a film that never got made.
Emily Destrange.
Was announced
I will play Emily.
She is so strange.
announced post-Oscar 2010, Christoph Waltz was going to make a German comedy called
Is there such a thing?
Off on Divan. Translates into up and away.
Translates into big eyes? Weird.
Can I read this
Please.
description and
Please.
imagine him also playing the host? I assume he was going to play the host.
Sure.
A romantic farce centered
Sure.
on the ruthless host of a dating competition show who develops feelings for one of her contestants. Oh, so I guess
He's
the host is female?
Her contestants. So he's one of the contestants?
Maybe? I don't know. It doesn't
I
say.
would love to take you
I am the
on a
bachelor.
date. I'm the bachelor.
The actor's
I
also
will jump
considering
over
taking a
this
supporting
fence.
role in the film.
Right.
I think that sounds like a great Christoph Waltz movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of movies that I'd love to plug him into. Like,
Yeah.
what's he doing in broadcast news? Show me that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see him play like a newspaper boss or something. Like,
Sure.
you know, people
Yeah.
always cast him as villains, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And he plays a fine villain. It's just a little boring.
Mhm.
Like, I want to see him do more of that kind of middle character.
Well,
right?
here's a pitch. What if he plays J. Jonah Jameson?
Sure, that'd be weird.
That's like the one Marvel character they
haven't
won't
cast
recast.
it, right? Yeah,
right.
yeah. Just get Simmons back.
Yeah, that's
Get him
what
back.
I want. I want them to just be like Simmons and you just do a different performance.
Sure,
Sure.
right? Yeah, just bring him.
You're
back.
still the right actor. Just come up with a new take on the guy.
Redo the movie Jack with Christoph Waltz.
Called
I
Chris.
am 5 years old. I don't know.
am but a child.
They could probably get Jennifer Lopez again.
Yes, I want my
this
nap
point.
time and my
Cosby's
juice.
busy, though.
Cosby
Cosby's
might be
busy.
tricky. He
Full
can Skype
docket.
in.
Yeah.
Big sentence. I don't know.
Yeah. This small German boy looks like
Chris-
a man.
This is Christoph Waltz for Jello.
Like the Jello pudding pops, they jiggle.
Give him a sitcom. Put him
my
in the
God.
Connors.
Could you imagine?
Griffin doing
you
the
go.
Have him
impression?
marry a Connor.
Could you
Yeah,
imagine?
Griffin doing an impression.
Can you imagine Christoph Waltz like at Thursdays at 8 on CBS?
Yes, exactly. Christoph! Exclamation
Christoph!
point. How are things down at the plant?
It should be called Take
my
This
boss.
Waltz.
I am just a blue collar American worker.
It is kind of like if there's another direction for him, it would be that thing where they were just like Arnold Schwarzenegger will just play Americans and
Right.
it won't
We'll
be
never
addressed.
talk about
right,
it.
exactly.
Yes, I work so hard to put the meats and potatoes on the table.
It's like how in like Liam Neeson movies, like sometimes they're like, yeah, like we'll call him something weird, and like that'll indicate that he's not
Right.
from America.
And
but
sometimes
they
he's
don't.
like, I grew up in Chicago.
It's so weird when he does that. I'm just a local Colorado boy.
Howdy, y'all.
Yes.
Now you listen to me. I'm Abraham Lincoln.
Craig? God, there's some sort of apparition in the air. Do you see this ghost
No.
swirling around?
It's like a smoke.
My bags, I packed a few for taking trips along the byway. It's the ghost of the chairman himself, the specter of Frank Sinatra.
Oh, okay. It's Frank Sinatra.
And at last,
You don't get brass like that again.
I packed my bags.
Okay.
I did it away.
Okay, so you're here to talk about Away.
I landed that ship, huh? You
Sure.
punk.
Well, you
Think
so
I can't
aggro.
do an ad read just because I'm dead?
Think you are dead, but clearly in your afterlife, you need a way to travel around still.
Especially,
ease.
I can't carry things with my own ghost hands.
And Away, which was founded by two friends from New York who found themselves at JFK with dead phones, delayed flights, and a bright idea,
I want to be a part of it.
gives you the Away carry-on, which is luggage
Friends
with power.
from New York.
So they create special objects designed to be resilient, resourceful, and essential to the way you travel today. They asked thousands of people how they pack, why they travel, what bugs them about their luggage, and they designed some problems. They designed a bag that solves some few old problems, like sticky wheels, and some new ones, like dead cell phones.
I remember being on the road with Ghost Sammy, Ghost Dean.
This is a sweaty one.
We still play together.
You do in up in the big heaven?
Oh, well, it's a constant jam session, as I'm sure
You made it to heaven?
Oh, yes, of course.
Wow, the rules
Right.
are some palms were greased. I was about to say that does not track.
But when we're playing, when we're traveling from cloud to cloud, I always say to Sammy, hey, Sammy, remember in the 60s we were at top of the heap, but we couldn't keep our devices charged?
Sure.
A real problem in the 60s. Our typewriters were dying.
Yes. Okay.
Away's got a removable battery.
It's got a removable battery,
My ghost phone is always charged.
which can
Not
charge.
with phantom power.
Yeah, it can charge anything that's powered by a USB cord. A single charge of Away will charge your iPhone 5 times.
That's the point I was just making.
If anything breaks, they'll fix it or replace it for life. It's a 100-day trial, and if any time you decide it's not for you, you can just return it.
They take care of you.
Refund,
Sam.
no
When you're
questions
part of the
asked.
Away family, they look out for you.
And it's free shipping in the 48.
Ooh, in the 48, including Ghost Las Vegas.
I've got my Away. I've used it every single time since I got it. Every trip I've taken, I've gone all over this fair country and outside of this fair country.
Hi, this is Downtown Griffin.
Hey, buddy.
I'm just taking the mic away from this belligerent drunk ghost.
Yes.
I recently bought an Away bag.
You weighed it up.
I'll tell you, because you got the one that they had sent us as a sample. I was very jealous. And I was about to go on a little trip to Hollywood. And I bought an Away literally the night before. And God, you know.
It's good, right?
Wait, Griffin, you're saying you bought luggage for a trip
The night before the
night
trip?
before the trip
Correct.
and packed
Yep.
like in the middle of the night?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Sorry, didn't want to.
I'm sorry. I bought it during the day. I packed during
my God,
the
oh my
night.
God, it doesn't matter.
I flew out the next morning.
Jeez, let's finish this
And
up.
my point is, it was like floating on a cloud.
That's great.
My devices were charged. I
Right.
was gliding.
So you're only like a little bit less stressed, but a little less stressed because of Away making it so easy.
Correction. I was significantly less
It-
stressed.
it is-
And that's the best selling point I can offer this.
Oh my God.
That is the best selling point I can offer for this product because I'm stressed all the time.
I
Tell
love-
me about it, baby.
Oh, he's back.
I got generalized ghost anxiety.
All right. For $20 off a suitcase,
Yeah.
visit awaytravel.com/check and use promo code check during checkout.
You got nice colors.
They got 9 colors to choose from.
A limited baby blue.
Sure.
Pink.
What color did you go for?
For the ghost Angie Dickinson in your life.
What color did you go for?
Me, Frank Sinatra?
No, Griffin. I'm not looking
hi,
at you.
Me? I went for the dark green,
Oh, nice.
which is it's a little more sophisticated than what I usually go with.
Sure. No, that sounds
Yeah.
great. I love
yeah,
it.
it's sort of a forest, a dark forest green.
All right. So for $20 off a suitcase, you visit awaytravel.com/check. Use promo code check during checkout.
$20 off. That's money you can throw right onto the table in Ghost to Las Vegas.
Oh, boy.
The chairman of the board.
On this podcast a while ago, we were doing a joke about Harrison Ford being in Lincoln and just like, damn it, Lincoln. And it just, every time I think about it, it makes me laugh.
Oh, boy.
Damn it, Lincoln.
Oh,
Big eyes.
big eyes.
The guys.
Oh, we didn't talk about the Lana Del Rey song.
Yes.
One
One of which is just called Big Eyes.
with your big eyes and your big lie.
Oh my God.
And
And it plays in the movie.
it
Yep.
does.
While she's
It
painting.
does.
Yeah.
And the other one's called I Can Fly.
And that's
I
at the
believe.
end.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is I spelled EYE?
It should have been. I believe Big Eyes was nominated for a Golden Globe.
I believe it was.
Not an Golden Oscar.
So Lana Del Rey is a Golden Globe nominee.
Do we get Lana Del Rey? I really don't.
Well,
I don't.
she-
I don't.
I-
I don't know
she's-
if I like her music.
I think that first album is still really good.
Yeah, the first.
Yeah.
I like Young and Beautiful. You know, I like
Yeah.
some of those.
I like that
songs.
she seems a little in on the joke.
Yeah,
you know,
oh, me
or a
too.
lot in on the joke.
Yeah.
You know.
The whole argument when everyone was like, it's a made up persona. It's like, that's the
well,
history of pop music.
Yeah, what are you
talking
talking- who cares?
about?
Right.
Right. This was also her weird quarter. She had a couple years where she was like mostly a movie song person.
Right. She did
Like
a lot
she
of
did
them.
The Great Gatsby songs.
Maleficent. And
She did Maleficent, the cover. Right. It was like every movie had a like, and now the single from Lana Del Rey.
Right.
Either
Yeah.
her covering something or writing an original.
Did we notice? Did we mention how big the eyes are?
I don't know if we talked
In
about
the
that. Maybe
movie?
we should bring that up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The eyes are very big.
We've talked about all the performances. The judge, James Saito.
Oh, I could show you. You know how I sometimes will just tweet at people just a photo with no text.
Mhm.
I used to do a big one, a reaction photo from Amy Adams on the set of Big Eyes, because her
Let me see.
her expression is just like something about it just makes me laugh.
It is wild when
Yeah.
they do the classic, which I mean, look, I know people make fun of this all the time. They make fun of this all the time.
This is one of the few cases when they show the real people. They look a lot like the characters in the
Yes.
movie.
I mean, but like, I just want to make this clear. I am such a sucker for the photo of the real person.
Yeah.
I don't care. Do
Right.
it.
It's hacky,
Show me
but
the
you
real
get
person.
your
Blow it up.
effects from it.
Show
Yeah.
me 8 photos.
Right.
I mean, I do think it's hilarious in Green Book that they couldn't find a photo of them together, which is like
It's
Truly,
I wonder
mean,
why.
truly telling.
Because I thought it was based on true friendship.
It is based on true friendship. How dare you? But I love a photo of the real person.
Mhm.
The staging of the real person and the actress together
Yeah.
Mhm.
is more unusual.
Yes.
But I kind of admire the boldness of that. But yes, when you see the picture of her, you're like, what? That was her hair. Right?
Both
You
of
see
them.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like really
that's
spot
very
on.
intense,
Yeah.
like Bob. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's still alive, painting her fucking painting.
That's the other thing is like she
Talking
just
about
paints every day.
Jehovah.
That's like her expression. Like that's
Sure.
her thing, and she can't psychoanalyze her own process.
and that's Burton's
much like
take
Tim
on
Burton.
her.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right,
sometimes
right.
he's totally in sync with the culture, and he becomes an industry,
Yeah.
but he doesn't really know what to do with it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And Christoph Waltz was the opposite. Like he was just the salesman. He understood the position.
Right, which is what he's good at. This was
Right.
nominated for an Independent Spirit Award for Best Screenplay.
I think it's an excellent screenplay. I
weird.
do think it would be better. I agree with the take from Twitter. It probably would be a better film structured
In
around
that way,
the
yeah,
court
the
case.
flashbacks. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, because the court case is so compelling.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
because of the narrative strictures of like how long a movie can be,
Right.
they kind of have to rush it. And it's
Yes.
like, but this is kind of the whole thing.
And the other thing is, yes, I mean, it would maybe
me
be
more
more
of that,
satisfying if
please.
that's a superstructure and you can keep cutting back and forth. And then the other thing is, I think what's interesting about this character, about all these people, these like highly successful sociopaths who just like lie and lie and lie and lie and lie, is that they truly don't believe they're lying.
right.
And there's something kind of fascinating to maybe doing a movie where you show a little more of how he remembers things being.
Yeah.
Because this is clearly a guy who's rewriting his own reality. I mean, I like that scene a lot with the daughter where they're like convincing her that she didn't see the
Yeah.
mother
It's creepy.
with the painting. And
Yes.
that's like, I agree, is like a failing of this movie is that the older daughter is not very good.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like, I always believed you,
So
Mom.
you can't really
Right.
like dive
Because
into
that
like her
character
perspective.
is
Yeah.
interesting.
Because she had to live with that asshole for like so long, and be kind of gaslit by.
That's the thing. I think like, it's an interesting subject when these children grow up in like weird households and are just completely like accepting memories that they are told.
Yeah.
By the parents who are trying to write what their past was.
I wonder what she's doing now.
Big eyes.
The daughter?
Yeah.
Making him bigger eyes.
She wrote Dumbo.
Yeah.
You're right. Big ears, yes. And Big Nose is coming next. Pinocchio?
Oh,
I think he already turned
do
it
we
down,
know what
right?
Burton's doing after Dumbo?
No.
No.
Shrug. No idea.
No,
What's he
shit.
going to do?
I don't know.
Oh, bye. Goodbye.
What the heck?
Get
He's telling him to
outta
get out of here. You're going to put up.
Outta here.
I mean, look, like
Go away.
there was a bit of the Simpsons thing with Burton
Go
where
on.
it's just like it kind of sucks that the Simpsons is still on the air.
Yes, for sure. I mean, certainly true of The Simpsons.
You know, in the same way,
Yeah.
like between like Burton and
There's
Simpsons.
now been like twice as much Simpsons
That's
that's
the
bad
crazy
than
thing.
good. It used to be that there was the
Right.
same,
right.
and now it's
a
like
lot
we're
more.
getting close to 20 bad seasons versus 10 good ones.
Right, because like The Simpsons, it's like 10 seasons.
Right.
Burton, it's like the first 10 movies. And for me, those things are like, you can bring up your qualms, but it's a pretty incredible run,
Yeah.
you know, for that first 10. And then you get to the period where it's just like the shining spots are so few and far between.
Yeah.
And you have to do a lot of heavy lifting to
Right.
really like argue their worth. Now, this is my question to the three of you. This movie is his second lowest grossing film ever.
$14 million domestic, 29 worldwide.
So then after this, Disney announces that he's making Dumbo.
Mhm.
Right after this, they announced it?
What did he make?
Peregrine.
I guess I feel like maybe he signed
This
on
is
to.
5 years before before Dumbo.
I think he signed on to Dumbo
Wow.
early.
Okay.
Because
But
A,
I don't
they
know.
shot it a while ago. There was
They
a
didn't
lot of
shoot it.
CGI.
Okay, but they didn't shoot it 5 years ago.
But I think he attached himself pretty early. Anyway, the point is,
Mm.
I remember them announcing Dumbo.
2015. So yeah, you're correct.
Thank you.
I agree with you.
Now
Yeah.
you agree with
He was
Boys,
announced as the director.
boys,
Yeah,
come
right.
on.
They didn't start making it until 2 years later.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they
yeah,
announced it,
Stop throwing lit matches at each other.
and everyone went like, "Oh, see, look, here's the proof. Tim Burton. He's got nothing to say. He's just remaking all the old classic Disney movies."
Yeah.
And I go, if you want him to do something different, you gotta show up.
Oh, well, here's 2 things about that. One, this movie was released by the Weinstein Company, which at this point was completely unable to release a movie.
Correct.
Just couldn't do it anymore. Didn't have the financial
Right.
resources.
They're like insolvent. Yeah.
Had that weird thing where like they could only like have one movie in a theater at a time.
Yeah.
2, it was released
Right.
Christmas Day, which is an abominable
Terrible
time to release
release.
this movie.
Yeah.
This should have come out in like April.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this movie needs a lot of space.
Yeah.
3, I'm pretty sure 14 million is the ceiling for this movie anyway. It's a Maudie movie. It maybe could get like 30 because it's got big actors.
Yeah.
But you know, like this is a
And
movie
big eyes.
And big,
and big eyes.
big eyes.
I mean, it's probably the highest grossing big eye. Well, no, because you got a lead in it.
Yeah. Thank you.
But You know.
Does Box Office Mojo have a tab for that?
it should.
Big Eye movie?
Big
It
Eye movie.
should.
Yeah.
But you know, like this should be like a Sony Pictures Classics movie that comes out in the summer and kind of like, you know, a wife that kind of gets to sort of like, you know, loop
What's that
around.
about?
What if there was a wife?
Thank
Yeah.
you.
What if the book was green?
What if the eyes were big?
Okay, let's play a box office game.
Yeah. Christmas 2014.
Ooh.
How wide was the release that first weekend?
1,300 screens.
Wow, so they immediately went to 1,300?
Why?
Yeah, fuck the Weinsteins.
It opened to 4 million, number 15
That's
at the box
insane.
office.
That's insane of
On
them to do that.
Christmas.
That's insane
It's
of them
a
to do that.
mid-wide release.
Yeah.
Like, what are they
mid-wide
thinking?
is the worst release. That's when you know the distributor has no like faith
idea
in the
to
movie.
do what to do with it.
Because
Yeah,
you either
right,
go
right.
little or you go wide,
Right.
and
Yeah.
mid-wide is like them being able to go like, well, we tried, we couldn't do anything.
It's like eyes.
Right.
You know, you either go big or you don't.
Right. It's the impatient platform. I don't know. I don't have time to platform this thing.
Yeah, you build like half a platform. You're like, get on that
Yeah.
platform.
3/4, not.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. All right, number 1 is
Christmas
Big Eyes.
14. Okay.
is a
Christmas 14.
sequel.
Christmas 14.
It's a trequel. It's a third one.
It's the third.
The third and final entrant in a trilogy.
It's not a Hobbit, is it?
It's a Hobbit.
Oh.
Which one?
The Desolation of Smaug.
There and Back Again?
No.
Nope. it's the
Back
other-
at it. High Noon at Mega Mountain.
What's the fucking? It's the last one.
It is kind of a High Noon at Mega Mountain. What
Yeah.
if the Lord of the Rings 3 was Lord of the Rings High Noon at Mega Mountain?
Wait, the third one isn't called There and Back Again.
No.
The first one's An Unexpected Journey.
Correct.
Den Smaug.
It's the Battle of the Five Armies.
Yes,
Oh,
I believe
Lord.
initially the first 2 were going to be
Yes,
called like
that's what it was going to be called. Unexpected Journey, There and Back Again.
yeah, but instead they split into 3, and the third one's called the Battle of the Five Armies, which is
Armies.
something that happens mostly off screen.
I know I have seen that movie, but
Yes.
I don't remember a
It has,
single
like,
thing about it.
Billy Connolly as a dwarf riding
What?
a giant boar.
What?
Yes. Right, you
How
haven't seen
did
it.
No one tell me that.
It has a whole 20-minute sequence where Richard Armitage is like
Yeah.
on LSD and drowns in a pool of gold.
Oh wait, I do remember that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's nuts.
It is weird that I have not seen the other
I know,
two in
but
that
now you
trilogy
have
for
to
how much
wait.
of like a pop culture completist I am.
Now you might as well just wait until
That's
we
my
do it on this
thing.
podcast.
Once we started this
Right.
podcast, I'm like, I'm gonna wait until we
well,
get
also
to Jackson.
just like, when does anyone ever just sort of
so-
sit down at home and
Right.
think,
You-
like,
but
let me
you-
fire up the Hobbit?
I weirdly like
I got
you.
10.
You like them, don't you?
I like them all.
He
they're
weirdly
so
likes
bad.
them.
They are kind of bad,
That was
but
I was
like them.
so turned off by the first
Yeah.
one after being a big Lord of the Rings fan that I was
I
like,
was,
I
like,
don't care.
Kind of excited, and the movie started, and
Yeah.
within 10 minutes, I was like, "Oh my
Immediately,
god,
I
I
Well,
have
the
to be
dish-
here for
yeah.
so long."
There's all the dishes to do.
Right.
They have a party and then they do
Yeah.
the dishes.
Yeah.
a lot of
That's right.
dishes.
And then they sit around and they sing about the mountains they're going to
Yeah.
go to, and you're like, are you guys gonna leave
I've
the
told
house?
I've told this story before on the podcast, but my father did not see any of the Lord of the Rings films, and then went with me to go see The Hobbit in high frame rate.
Wow.
And when they're at like minute 8 of doing the dishes, he was just like, "What the
What are we
fuck is
watching?"
this?" Like he just like could not be less into anything.
Well, can you tell me the Battle of Five Armies worldwide final total?
$948 million.
956. Amazing.
That's
was
crazy.
that close. That's the thing where it's
No
like,
one talked about
no
those
one
movies,
likes
but-
those
yeah.
hobbits that made billions of
Right.
dollars.
It was like jury
Yes.
duty. Like those three
Right.
movies were like jury
Yeah,
duty.
gotta do
Where it
it.
was like, what? It's the Mr. Show coupon, the movie sketch. It's like a required romp.
Yes,
Mandatory
one of your
fun.
favorite.
Yeah.
And you know those movies came about because Peter Jackson was suing Guillermo del Toro, and they went to court, and the judge said, "Make 3 Hobbit movies,"
right.
and Del
they-
Toro couldn't do it.
There literally was a
My arm is
Yeah.
hurting.
Yes. But that's what they don't say is that those movies were shot entirely in a courtroom. There was a jury who had to spend 3 years of their
That's
life
right. That's right.
watching Peter Jackson.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
They had to go through all of production.
All
Everything.
a blocking rehearsal.
The judge was like, "I give you each $250 million per picture. Now go."
It is truly a crazy thing that we don't talk about, that Del Toro was so close to making those movies.
Yeah, and he's
Dropped
credited
out
on them.
so late.
Yeah.
And then Jackson didn't want to make them
Right.
and was like, fuck, if I don't make them, they're going to get shut down.
Yeah.
And all my friends are like,
Yes,
out of work.
100%. Like, and New
Yeah.
Zealand was basically like, "Are we going to have to fire all the teachers this year?" And
Right.
Jackson was like, "I'll make the Hobbits." They're like, "Yay! Schools stay open!"
right. It was like he felt so much guilt.
I don't know.
That's honestly,
it's a huge
yeah.
provider of the, obviously, big
Yeah.
jobs in New Zealand.
He talks about how he had like 3 months to prep.
Right. No, it's insane.
And he was just like, I just felt bad. I didn't want everyone to
when
lose their
when
job.
you see, I mean,
It's
there's
the local
a
economy,
lot
that's
of
such a
Del
boost.
Toro in those movies. The
Yeah.
monster design, especially the first
Right.
one. But it's just sort of like smatterings.
Yeah,
it's
it's
sort of like,
very weird.
Anyway, number 2 at the box office.
I remember seeing him talk. And he made his take on the Hobbit sound really interesting.
Del Toro.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe it.
But we'll talk about that if we ever do Jackson or
We
if we
gotta
ever
do
do
it.
Del Toro.
He's doing well. He's, in fact, let's see how he's doing in the poll.
Well,
just
at this
posted
point,
today.
Okay.
It just went up today.
Who's Del Toro up against today? Here's a
McTiernan.
blast from the past. Is he beating him? Is he sending him to
Hey,
jail?
read the
Not Del Toro. Jackson.
read the post.
Jackson.
The copy on the post.
Peter, quote, the Tolkien boy, Jackson, versus John, quote, jail, McTiernan. Go.
Did you write that?
Ben wrote.
Did you text it to Ange or did
No, he
you
just
post
posted it
yourself?
himself 2 hours late.
Great.
Oh, I love you, Ben. I'm sorry.
It's one of my favorite.
Now he feels bad. I was having fun.
It's one of my film Twitter favorite jokes. But when Black Panther came out and they said, so they cast Bilbo and Gollum in Black Panther, it's literally a movie with 2 Tolkien white guys.
Jackson is beating McTiernan.
That's a good
It's
joke.
good. It's funny. It's
That's
funny.
good.
Jackson
Comedy
beating
points to whoever
McTiernan
tweeted
42
that,
to
yeah.
48. 52 to 48.
Okay.
Very close.
Okay, what's number 2 at the box office?
It's a musical. Huge hit.
Into the Woods?
Yes. Another one people forget.
I don't like that.
Doesn't
one.
exist.
No.
Doesn't exist.
Not
No one
good.
likes it. No one likes it.
No one.
No.
Well, the Woods were big. I don't forget it.
It's so weird that Disney made that and that it made a lot of money and
Yeah.
that she got nominated for Best Supporting Actress
Mhm.
and no one will ever watch it again for the rest of time.
Into the
Never.
Woods. Into
No.
the
Nope.
Woods.
It's not even a movie where, like, if your high school theater class is doing Into the Woods, you screen it for them.
Absolutely not.
It's not even
And,
that.
and it's not like when I found out too much to my horror that like people younger than me like regularly watch the Rent movie, which I
Right.
think is like
Right.
should be buried under a pyramid
Agreed.
or something. It's
But
yeah.
Into the Woods doesn't even have that weird.
In East Village.
Right.
No, Into the Woods is just like nothing.
Nothing.
It's just,
Yeah, no, Into the Woods is just you see it and
Right.
like as a scene like leaves. It just
Right.
leaves your brain as
Right.
as they cut.
Yeah.
And it just made like a breezy 114
I
domestic.
think like 125.
It's insane.
Just
Did
a cool,
fine.
laid
Look
back
at this
114.
fucking-
Yeah.
The Hobbit 3
Okay.
making almost a
Yeah,
bill.
but that's the
Yeah.
thing. You guys are talking about two movies that don't exist. Get ready for number 3.
Oh, no.
Does not exist.
I'm loving
and
this
made
lineup.
115 million domestic, 163 worldwide. This was a hit film, a genuine hit
An
film.
additional 163. That's the worldwide
What
total.
worldwide total?
So it didn't make as much
Barn was
overseas.
low, yeah,
Okay.
but it
I've
made
never heard of this.
He's
You've
never heard of this.
115
domestic. It's like an inspirational movie. It was trying to go for Oscars. It didn't,
It didn't get Oscars, but it connected with the public.
I guess.
115
If you
domestic.
sat anyone down and said, like, do you remember seeing the film? Beep. They'd be like, nope. And you'd be like, well, I have your ticket here. You clearly
Right.
saw the film. They'd be like, no, I didn't.
to get any nomination.
Inspirational, but
Sounds
not
nom?
faith-based.
Well,
Well. Oh, yes. This is. Everyone thought this was going to be like the runaway
Oscar
Best
player,
Picture, Best
sure.
Director. This is Unbroken.
Unbroken.
Angelina Jolie's Unbroken.
Oh, Jesus
A
Christ.
full-fledged domestic blockbuster.
I stood
the
in an
thing.
elevator with her for that movie, and
Sure.
I don't remember.
Do you
that
remember a
movie.
year in advance when everyone's like, this is going to be the second
This
time
is
a woman
the
wins Best
one.
Director?
This is the one.
And that
for
movie
her,
is
yes.
also nothing.
Doesn't
Not
exist.
only
No.
does that movie not exist, wasn't well received particularly.
No, but no one was
It's not a
angry
good movie.
about
No
it.
one was angry
Everyone
about it.
just
Everyone was
like,
kind of like,
shrug.
yeah, it's sort of perfunctory, and it made lots of money.
So much money.
It's crazy.
How
Crazy.
much did it cost, though?
65 million.
Oh, so it
it did
yeah.
fine.
That's big
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah.
Big eyes.
big eyes. She has big eyes.
Yes,
She's
does.
got big eyes.
Very big eyes.
Not Alita big, but
No.
Not
Tim
far.
Burton turned down Maleficent. Did Big Eyes instead.
Number 4.
He was in
Wow.
talks.
Wow, number 4 also doesn't exist. Okay, it's the third in a series of children's films.
Is it? No, it's not Narnia 3.
No.
It's third in a series of children's films. It doesn't exist. Is it the last?
I believe so. I believe
Is
this
it
is
live
the
action or animated?
live action, but it's got a lot of like CGI
Live
antics.
action with creatures.
Yeah.
It's got some creatures.
Yeah.
There's 3 of them. And it's not
boy.
chipmunks.
No. Not chipmunks.
Does it have celebrity?
Big star?
Do the creatures talk?
I don't know. I've never seen these.
It's a
fucking
big
things.
star, but it's the same big star in all 3 of them?
Yeah.
it's not the Garfield, is it?
No. Big star, and then
Smurfs?
No, they only because 3 was kind of a hard reboot.
I was about to say not your Smurfs, but of
It
course
takes
it's
place
your
during
Trolls.
my favorite
Uh-oh.
time of the day.
No, they're not my Smurfs.
It takes place during
I'm not
your
gonna Walter
favorite
Keane
time.
that.
Is it a night movie?
Correct.
It's a nighttime movie.
Is night in the title or is it just a big element?
Night's in the title.
Night's in
Oh,
the
Night at the Museum 3?
What's the subtitle?
Legends of Curly's Gold?
it's
High Noon at Mega Mountain?
I knew to make about.
Can I get this correct? Is it Secret of the Tomb?
Correct.
Wow.
And you know-
Rami Malek.
That's whose tomb it is.
Yeah.
That's
What's the
whose
secret?
tomb it is. I
That
don't
he's
know.
going to win an Oscar.
Yeah,
for
right.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
And
Yeah.
Ben still looks at it and his face melts off and he
Yeah.
turns into a skull.
Yes, that's another movie that doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
Speaking of Rami Malek, David, on the last time I was on this podcast, you had just seen Bohemian
I know
Rhapsody.
you were talking
like,
about this on Little Gold Man.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
like, I was like, no one's going to be talking about that movie.
Yeah,
by
I was
the
like,
time.
what a
And it's
piece of shit.
Whoops.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Won 4 Academy Awards,
I believe
4
it did.
Oscars.
It made
for that movie.
close to $1 billion.
4 Oscars.
David's like swinging his mic around
I don't know what to do about that.
like a victory lap.
Remember when
Yeah.
it kept winning Oscars?
Yeah.
And I was just like in a cold sweat. And then like Roma won director, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can settle down. And then Best Picture went to Green Book.
Do you remember
Yeah.
when we could not stop it? When Bohemian
Yes.
was like still number 5 at the box
Right.
office 212 weeks later?
I was flying back from Mexico recently, and literally everyone I could,
Yeah.
whose
Yeah,
monitor I
it's
could
a
see was
plane
watching that movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people who watch it on a plane because I feel like they also feel like, well, now I'm not contributing to its
Right.
box office or anything like
Yeah.
that, right? I can watch it on a plane.
Do you remember when the last 20 minutes of that movie are just a shot-for-shot recreation of a concert you can just watch on YouTube instead?
Correct.
That is
we-
better?
Yeah, sure. Anyway, that's The Secret of the Tomb. It made $113 million. It made 363 worldwide.
Yeah, kind of a big drop-off.
But it's still,
Because the
Yeah,
first
money.
one did like 260.
Oh, and Amy Adams, isn't she in?
She's really good in 2.
Is she in 2?
She's
in
I
Amelia
thought she was in
Earhart?
both. But
She's
yeah.
only in
Well, there's
2.
3.
No, I thought she was in 2 and 3.
No,
I don't know.
No, she's only in 2 because it
Okay.
ends with, I think, her flying away.
And then happily ever after, and then she's fine, and she lands wherever she's going.
You've,
Yes.
you've never
Yeah.
seen 2,
Yeah.
right?
No.
I'm debating whether or not to say this. What's next at the box office?
Another movie that doesn't exist! Hooray! It's another musical.
It's another musical?
That's right,
it
starring
get-
Richard's favorite actor.
Did it get any Oscar traction?
No.
Is
No.
it an adaptation of a Broadway show?
Yes. It's been done as a movie before.
Dickie's favorite actor.
Yes. His favorite
Done as a
actor.
movie before.
Taron Egerton.
Big Dickie Lawson.
No, she's younger. Younger than Taron. Quite young.
Yeah, she.
Oh, Quivenzane Wallace.
That's
It's Annie.
right. Is Annie.
Mm.
It's
It
a
is-
hard knock life.
it is
for
Friday.
viewers. I don't know.
No, that was good.
I actually never saw Annie. Is
You're
it
right.
bad?
I think it's like the ultimate like Gentleman's Five. Right?
Cameron
it's a
Diaz
Glock.
in it is pretty rough.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why she retired.
It's a glove.
right.
Yeah, that is her last movie.
It's her last
right?
movie.
Yeah, uh-huh.
It was supposed to be
85 it made.
because it was supposed to be Bullock and
Bullock could be good.
Willow Smith.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the whole thing with that movie. Was Will Smith was setting up his kids to be
Yeah.
movie stars.
And then they were like, we're not into it.
You're
Yeah.
doing Karate Kid. You're doing Annie. Go.
but the
Right,
movie
yeah.
was like fully set up, and she was like,
Yeah.
"No, I don't really want to go to school today."
Right.
And like Quivenzane had just got nominated.
Yeah.
She's cute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Friday.
does. She does some musical
Thank God
theater
it's Friday.
training.
It is the weekend, baby. Have
Yeah.
fun and enjoy it. If anyone done, there's a great Quivenzane Wallace tweet where she was like 8 years old and she has this like world weary like, thank God it's Friday. It's like, what are you talking about? What did you do all week?
Aren't you happy
Yeah.
that she seemingly has just like
Just I think is living a normal
gone
life
back to
now.
have a normal
yeah.
life?
Yeah, good for her.
I was worried
that's
at
how it should
Annie
work
that they
with
were
child
gonna
actors.
keep
They should like
pushing.
the
100%.
one good performance, then you're go live a normal life.
Yeah.
I agree. That's the top 5 for the box office. We've also got Mockingjay Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
We've got The Gambler.
Ooh,
The-
another movie that barely exists.
Oh,
Yeah.
it does not exist. We got The Imitation Game. Today we call them
Yeah.
Big Computers.
One best screenplay.
Yeah, that's insane.
Exodus, which we call Big
Big Bible.
River.
A movie I like.
Really?
I like that.
I've
Like
never
I
seen
like
it.
Noah. I
And
think
I
like
love
those
Ridley
two
Scott.
I
movies.
like Noah.
Yeah.
I'm into
Big
Noah.
Arc.
Big Arc.
We've got Wild, Big Hike.
You know what's crazy? This top 15, top 10 you're reading is mostly horrible films that don't exist.
2014 was a rough year.
Okay, but then I was going
Yeah.
back to 'cause
your-
I was
your
trying
list?
to. Well, no, not even my list. I was trying to find.
Is that when Birdman won?
Yes,
Yes.
which is terrible.
Eesh.
I mean, it's my least favorite Best Picture winner of the modern era. I
Green
guess
Book.
I hate Green Book
Green
more.
Book.
I hate Green Book.
I don't know
more.
if you know about this movie called Green Book.
Hey,
Hey, fuck you. I'm not better than the Birdman. Get out of here. Hey, give me a sandwich.
What is he called?
Okay,
I'll
get
beat you in a hot
friggin'
dog
sandwich.
competition.
What is he called in the movie? Like, what's his lip? Tony
Hey,
Lip.
Tony Lip,
Tony
because I
Lip,
got
yeah.
a mouth, you know?
Right.
Virtuoso. It's Italian. Pretty good.
We fold this pizza in half here.
Hey, give me a fucking pizza.
Give me a pizza as big as her eyes.
Hey, Deep South. Whoa. You're racist. Okay, look, I'm racist, but you guys are being racist.
I'm cool with gay people, of course.
Of course, I have no problem with that,
that
at all.
makes contextual sense.
I work at the Copa. I said this to someone. I don't know if it was to Griffin. I'd watch a movie of him being a bouncer at the Copa.
Fully.
That sounds like a great
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Him just bashing skulls. All right, go ahead.
Walter Keane comes through.
Green Book 2. Yeah, exactly. Hey, big eyes. I got big fists.
so I was looking for
I don't know.
what Bilga wrote about Big Eyes.
Yeah, big eyes.
And I found his top 20 list, which is where he wrote it on his blog, okay?
Right.
And bad year at the box office, bad year at the Oscars. Let me rattle off some 2014 movies to you, okay? Interstellar,
My number 1 of the year.
Beyond the Lights,
Great movie.
Selma,
Great movie.
We Are the Best,
Great movie.
2 Days, 1 Night,
Great movie.
The Lego Movie,
Love it.
The Immigrant,
Sure.
Snowpiercer,
Pierce, big train.
Inherent Vice,
Big mystery.
Force Majeure.
Big
avalanche.
avalanche.
I mean, that's his top 10. And then you get down to Edge of Tomorrow.
I was going to say that's in my
John
top 5.
Wick.
Yeah, but Big
Like some
Revenge.
good like genre
You
films
also had
too.
Big Hotel.
Number 18,
Budapest.
Big
That's
Eyes,
right. That's
Grand
right.
Budapest,
You did.
Whiplash, Big Drums.
Did you
Big
have
Princess?
I think Big,
Kaguya?
Big Turner.
Big Turner.
Big
Absent
Turner. I mean, there
Turner.
were good
Big
movies.
Girl.
Yeah.
Gone.
Where'd she go?
I don't know.
Okay, that's the end of this movie. That is the end of our working relationship.
Excuse
The big
me.
clock is almost done counting down.
And don't forget about Big Zilla. People don't give that movie respect, but
Well,
that's a
he's
fucking
chunky.
great movie. He is a chunky boy.
I get
God-
Oh,
Godzilla?
Godzilla's a chunky boy.
I thought you were talking about Aaron Taylor Johnson, and I was like, I agree.
Oh boy.
You've got a chunky boy
Disgusting.
looking at Aaron
Yeah.
Taylor Johnson.
oh, gross.
Yeah, sorry. Babadook. Big Duke.
Big two.
Now that the new Godzilla is
I'm
just
like
looking at my top
imminent,
10.
I
yeah,
feel
the
like
new
people
Zilla.
are bringing up again the argument of why is Godzilla so chunky?
Yeah.
And they're like, it's an American thing. It's like American gluttony. The Americans have made Godzilla so fat. You look at the old Godzilla films, He always had thunder thighs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, he's
That was always a
been
bit.
because he needed space for the fucking person to
Right.
fit.
The only time the guy's ever been lean is in the Roland Emmerich movie.
And yeah,
And that's the one that's bad.
All right, we got to wrap up.
Yeah, we're done.
Hey, excuse you. I still got
7 minutes or so.
9 minutes and 53 seconds on the clock.
No, but we're done. Griff,
We're done.
Richard's got to go. 420.
Yeah, baby.
Smoke weed every day.
Are you seeing are you going to see a screen?
no, I'm going to my appointment to get TSA pre-check. It's time.
Yeah.
I
Richard,
gotta
I've done
say,
it.
Did
it's
you see
amazing.
Beach Bum?
I did not see Beach Bum, and they're screening it. They are done screening it.
I know they fucked that up.
When
I
we're
saw it.
recording, it's out in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Also, how did you see Us early?
I actually can't tell you on mic, but I'll tell you off mic.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, I have to tell you the shit
Right,
story.
okay.
It's not like a shocking.
So let's
story.
end the show because now I want to hear these stories.
All
Let
right.
me just say, Blank Check thoroughly endorses signing up for a TSA pre-check.
No, seriously. I mean, you just walk right in.
It's
it is
so
kind of
good.
nuts.
People
I'll
don't
be a
realize
Checky of a different variety.
it takes so little work.
Checkmate.
We
Be a
should try to
checkmate.
get us
I am a
a
checkmate, by the way.
co-sponsorship.
You know that I'm
'cause the
paying you guys
TSA
money.
isn't- Yeah, thank you.
I'm paying money for this podcast that I'm on right now.
That's
in some
right.
ways.
Blank,
some
senses.
ways.
Blank pre-check.
Yeah. I'm
Good.
also doing, I think, the global entry, even though I don't fly internationally that often, but why not?
Why not?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Everyone's very
Do
interested.
you have anything-
Reddit's going to blow up
Do you
about
have
this
anything
one.
to plug? Your book and paperback.
My book is in paperback.
Say the title.
All we can do is wait.
It's
It's
a
a really
great
nice
book.
new cover. Happy about that.
It's a smart buy and
Yeah.
a great read.
Oh yeah, go see Miss Peregrine, my favorite movie of all time.
Of course. Well, we'll talk about her next week.
Do you get money every time they sell a copy of Peregrine?
No, they just send me a Blu-ray, so I have a
Get
lot.
another.
They send
Yeah.
you a peregrine.
Yeah, they send me Eva Green. She
Right.
does my laundry for a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to promote your Game of Thrones podcast?
Oh yeah, so I have a Little Old Men, which is the main podcast of VF, but also we're doing a Game of Thrones thing for the last season. I guess the episodes will be up like Monday morning, I think.
Right.
It's me and Joanna Robinson, who's been on this show.
Thrones.
Sure.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Still watching Game of Thrones. Find it on Apple, iTunes, Store, Podcast, or whatever that thing is.
Hells yeah.
Nailed it.
Thank you all for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Go to blankies.reddit.com for some real nerdy shit. Go to TeePublic for some real nerdy shirts. Remember to sign up for Blank Check special features on Patreon.
Patreon.com.
They're so wonderful, by the way. I
Thank
love
you.
them. Yeah,
Oh, thank
yeah.
you.
They're really great, and I want to do big nice.
We're gonna get you on the
Speaking
couch.
of big
Big
things,
We gotta
yeah.
get you on the.
Well, I
That's the
mean,
other
we
thing.
had that one idea.
Oh yes.
Well, we should do that. But you can also do a commentary.
We've put that on
Yeah.
the schedule, but
Yeah,
you
yeah.
also can and should do a commentary. I do like that now that we record at Big Nice, we can say like we can refer to doing the couch like we're Johnny Carson.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I want to get on that couch.
Yes, that's the big
the
investment.
greatest
call me
honor is
over,
you get
call me
to
over.
call
Yeah,
you
exactly.
over. You're Tim Allen,
Yeah.
and we're calling you over to do panel.
Seeing here, you're a guardian of the galaxy.
That was a great Christoph
So
Waltz.
These eyes are sure big. You seen these eyes, Ed?
A raccoon has
So
a
big.
rocket, some weird and wild stuff.
You don't want us to do Carson? Not into the Carson?
Christoph Carlson?
What's wrong with Carson?
Nothing. Come on.
Should we do Dangerfield now?
Yeah.
Oh.
I get no eyes. No eyes.
Jesus
My wife looks at
Christ.
me. My eyes are so little. Don Rickles.
Go on.
Uh-huh.
You hockey puck. You got split peas for eyes. I watched the Twilight Zone episode with Don Rickles last night.
Was it good?
Yeah, that guy was such a good actor.
Of course.
He never got enough
Amazing actor.
opportunity to show us what he could do.
That's true.
He's
As-
great in
Toy Story? Potato Head?
the Norm Macdonald movie. We just
Oh,
talked
Dirty
about.
Work,
Dirty Work,
right. And he did win his Oscar for that.
Of course.
Yes,
So
'cause
thank you all
Ben
for
was the only vote of
listening.
the year. Yeah.
That was the year.
Thank you all for listening. Yeah, you already did all that. Thank
and
you.
as always,
Yeah.
the thing I didn't want to say is that Amy Adams' butt looks really good in Night at the Museum, too.
Wow,
And
Amelia
every-
Air butts.
Every heterosexual adult male I know who has seen that movie took note of it.
All right,
It's
I
a
haven't seen it.
weird thing.
Also, big eyes.
Hey, guys.